The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Install a new furnace and AC combo and save up to $3,000 with manufacturer and utility rebates along with Standard Heating's discount. Visit standardheating.com.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
It's National Email Day.
You've got mail.
Hello.
I did break up with a girl a little while ago, and we stayed in pretty good contact after we broke up. Stayed in pretty good contact in that I had her email password and would check her account from time to time.
I'm trying to get a hold of this one guy. His email address, it's billionairedave at hotmail.com. Pretty sure if you're a billionaire, you're not going to have a Hotmail account. It's like, hey, it's Billionaire Dave. Just check my email at the library.
I got mail! Yay! I got mail! Yay!
Get excited about it. It's going to be wonderful. I got mail. 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 I got mail.
All right, let's see how things shake out this time around. Half-Ass Morning Show, 5:41 here, Tuesday morning, don't you know? What are we, Josh, is today the anniversary of when emails were invented?
No, it's the birthday of the gentleman who invented it.
The birthday of the gentleman who invented
Ray Tomlinson.
Ray.
Yeah,
the dude who invented electronic mail.
He's the guy.
Goes by the name of Ray.
Ray, the guy to thank or curse, depending on how you feel about it.
That's the guy we have to blame for this mess?
Is he still alive?
He is passed. I believe he died in 2016.
He made all the money, though, didn't he?
I don't know. You know, sometimes people, like the guy who invented the slap bracelet, boy, did he get screwed. Those were so popular for a while. They made so much money.
The what?
The slap bracelet. Weren't those popular at your school?
No, hell no.
I remember them. Yeah, big time.
I love those.
Show me a slap. Who's got a slap bracelet on right now?
Well, I've never owned one. I always wanted one.
So that dude made all the money.
No. Oh, I'm sorry. The slap bracelet, no. He got screwed. He invented this thing, and other people took it over. They made all the money.
That sucks.
That is too bad.
What about Ray with the electronic?
I couldn't tell you if
and then he
there's money
died
in that or not. He did die.
He died on us.
Painfully, unfortunately.
Ah, Christ. Oh, what the hell was that?
What happened?
We don't know. We still don't know what's going on here. It's day 2 in our new studios. New to us. The equipment is still 40 years old, Josh says.
Yeah, our engineer's like, see that? That's 40 years old. See that? That is also 40 years old. But
I did like all the text messages yesterday from people saying, oh, so new studio, new equipment, you guys upgrading? No.
Not yet. Not yet. We will be getting new stuff, though. I'm excited about that.
We still don't really know what the hell's going on around here. Everything sounds funny, and yesterday I was willing to accept it. Today, now I'm starting to get pissed already. But we're gonna go. We're gonna go ahead anyway. We'll see what happens. Well, there you go. The dude who invented the email. I hope he made some great money because everybody's on email. Everyone but me.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, you're on one email. Just you don't check your corporate email.
Everyone does emails. It is early. Maybe too early for a conversation on dog diarrhea.
Oh, no.
Not that there's ever a great time of day for dealing with that or talking about that. I wanted to go ahead and read you a text message that came in already this morning. It might be tough for some of you to hear. This is a text message from retired and young Jesus who said, Josh, here's a great way to start the day. Got woken up by my dog at 3:30 this morning spraying diarrheas all over my bed.
Oh,
not the bed.
I've had that happen.
Let me see. What time did he text in?
But replace dog with wife.
You've had that? That's awful.
Yeah, our dogs, we've got one dog, he can't feel his back half, unfortunately. So he has trouble walking, and he can't feel when it's going to happen, right? So all of a sudden he gets up, and he's like, oh, my God, I'm pooping. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happening. I couldn't feel it coming on.
Yeah.
So he's almost no matter how much you take him out, his body just says, you know what, let's just do it in the house. Good.
Oh, that sucks because I'm sure he's making that face where he's like, I'm so sorry.
Oh,
like,
yeah. He's
that's
embarrassed. I feel bad
heartbreaking.
for the guy.
Yeah, when I had that, remember when I had that dog whose back legs didn't work and she had a wheelchair?
Oh, I love her.
She had the same thing where she didn't know when it was happening, but she never had, the look on her face, Ashley, was she'd look at me and say, hey, clean that up for me, will you?
Yeah, he kind of does get a look like, who's the bitch now, bitch?
Yeah, the one that I had almost looked at me very disrespectfully when she'd leave something behind. She didn't know when it was happening because she couldn't feel the back half of her. But here's this. 5 o'clock this morning, retired and young Jesus texted in. Again, he said he got woken up by his dog shooting diarrhea all over his bed at 3:30 in the morning. He said, I've been up ever since, washing the sheets and cleaning the carpet. I thought it might be some good radio humor at my expense. Yes, we are having a good time talking about your situation.
Well, it's always better someone else than yourself.
Of course.
But I surely do empathize. Diarrhea especially. That's tough to clean up. We'd like our carpet, when we moved in, it's disgusting. Like crime scene gross. It's embarrassing. Like when we have people over. It's really gross, but we haven't replaced it for this reason. Our dog now he's got a urinary tract infection, so he's peeing all over the place. He can't help it. Poor guy.
Aw.
I have done this a couple times where I'm so tired of cleaning it up, I'll pretend I don't see it so the wife finds it. Like if she's home, I might just say, it appears someone's at the door. Maybe go check the door, and she'll walk right by it.
I was quite skilled in that department as a kid.
Is that right?
Yeah. Walk by it, act like you didn't see it. It instantly becomes someone else's problem.
Yep.
Now, I busted my son doing the same thing. I saw him see it and walk on by, and it made me mad at first. And then I'm like, well, what am I talking about? I did the exact same thing.
Gabe recognizes game.
Yeah, I had to tell him, listen, I know what you're up to because I've done it too, but you were busted.
That should be a kid's job. It should. Dad shouldn't have to clean that up. So there you go. Thanks for your text, retired and young Jesus. Sorry about your problems at such an ungodly early hour. But it brings me back to a story about my old dachshund, who's been dead now for years, Ozzy. Stuck around forever, 19 years the sumbitch lived. At one point or another, I turned him over for the weekend. I turned him over to an ex-girlfriend who loved that dog. He was an easy dog to love. This ex-girlfriend of mine would take care of Ozzy when I left town. So, but she hadn't cared for him in quite a while, So, I didn't know she was involved in. Well, I'll explain. So, I turned Ozzy over to the ex-girlfriend for the weekend. What I didn't know is she had. She's a pet owner as well. She had fallen in love with all this hippy-dippy natural food for dogs. Cold, canned, whatever. All natural. This stuff, fine. It works for some dogs, but I handed her my dog, who was already, 14, 15 years old. He had never eaten that stuff before. He had eaten regular dry food. Why she thought you could just suddenly what's the word I'm looking for? Introduce that kind of food to a dog out of nowhere and expect everything to be fine. I don't know why, because she wasn't an idiot. She knew how dogs operate, but at any rate, she calls me while I'm out of town and says, your dog is going to die. And I says, what are you talking about? Oh, my God, he's just shooting diarrhea all over the house. It's horrible. She sent me pictures, and it was horrible. All over her bed, all over her floor, every room in the house. I said, well, what's going on over there? I was concerned. I thought, well, that shouldn't happen. For God's sake, he's going to evaporate. He's losing so much fluid. It's just spraying up. And she said, well, no, all I did was I started feeding him this all-natural canned. And I said, what? You can't just put a bowl full of that stuff in front of a dog who's never had it before. Number one, of course he's going to love it, and his stomach's going to go crazy.
I feel like even if I have a salad, my stomach goes nuts.
Some of the worst diarrhea I've ever had because of salads.
It's funny you say that. I got a little worried because for whatever reason, Sunday night I decided I want to have a salad, and I did, and I thought, I wonder what this is going to do to me. It's been a while since my stomach's been introduced to lettuce.
Are you okay?
I'm doing fine.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Yeah, it can happen that way sometimes. So the dog was fine. Once she told me, we had a laugh over it, me and her. I just couldn't believe she made that. Every dog owner knows if you're going to introduce your dog to a new food, you have to go very, very slowly. She just put plates full of this stuff all over the house, and he's blowing through it. And just a dumb idea.
Good intentions.
Yeah, well, sure, I suppose, but for whatever reason, she thought she was the one that was going to make my dog healthier over a 3-day weekend. No, that's a long process. Don't friggin' do that to my dog. Another text message came in that I wanted to get to it yesterday, but we didn't have time. Yesterday, actually, we had a fun conversation. Again, learning things about Josh. Thought I knew everything there was to know about you. And yesterday you told us this funny story about how years ago here at the radio station, you were part of the safety committee here at the radio station.
I was.
It totally blew my mind that we had a safety committee. Why you would need one at a radio station, I still have no idea. But you would gather with these other employees and you would talk about how to make the building safer, this and that. Very interesting stuff. Another one of your past little, funny stories, a gig you had years ago was when you were, what's the term you like to use?
Well, I was on the force. We called it asset protection at Target.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it was my time, with my brothers on the force.
Gotcha.
Towing that thin, khaki, and red line.
Busting shoplifters at Target. Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of it was safety related. That was the other part.
What do you
Looking
mean?
out for safety issues, pointing them out, that kind of thing.
What do you mean?
Let's say, hey, there's some condensation on the floor over there. I'll take care of that. Or pointing out things like that.
Someone spilled milk on aisle 2.
That's right.
Okay. So with all that said, this text came in yesterday. We didn't get a chance to get to it, but I want to ask you now. Someone from our listening audience texted in who must have held the same type of gig that you held at Target. And they texted, does Josh still remember the 5 steps before catching a shoplifter is how they ask it. There was a system to...
Yeah, and they're very strict about it.
They're very strict about it. Now,
I
this
certainly
guy,
do remember, yes.
Yesterday, I asked him, I said, can you tell us what those 5 steps are? And he texted back. I know you read that text. Was he accurate with his...
Oh, I didn't read that text. I must have missed it.
Okay, I thought maybe you had seen it.
No.
So there was a universal procedure when you busted a shoplifter?
Yeah, there was... 5 sounds right. There were 5 things we had to make sure happen, or that we witnessed before you could make an apprehension,
Okay.
And then it got even more difficult, and there's more and more rules, and then you could get in trouble for things that didn't seem like you should be able to get in trouble for. So eventually I decided this isn't the job for me. I'm making minimum wage, and I could get in trouble for something that had nothing to do with.
I hear you on that. That would suck.
Maybe that's changed.
Okay, so it wasn't so much a system of the procedure of apprehending them.
Everything that would lead up to it.
5
You'd
things.
have to have all these things, every single one of them.
They had to happen before you made a move.
Otherwise, you'd try and get what we call in the business a recovery, right? So let's say I see you, so I have to watch you approach whatever you're going to steal, right?
Sure.
Then I see you take it.
Uh-huh.
Then I see you conceal it.
And
then before you get to the second door, this is how it was 20-some years ago. I have to maintain eye contact that entire time. I can't lose you for a split second. If you take a quick turn and I'm with 1.5 seconds, I don't see you, you could have tossed the merchandise.
Right.
So then I have to see you going. If you're reaching for that second door, or, now they're automated, but if you walk out towards that second door that opens, that's when I can stop. Right? That's how it was.
That's really interesting.
But so a lot of times, so somebody would turn, right? And then you'd miss them for a second, so you'd do what was recovery. And that would be, then it's awkward, right? So I know you probably still have it. Let's say I saw you stole condoms, right? Or fishing lures were big. And so I know you put it in your front right pocket. So I'd walk right next to you like this, and I'd just stare at your pocket the whole time. And then, just keep on walking, and I'd look at your pocket and look at you. So the guy knows that
you
okay,
know.
you're on to me.
Yeah.
Right? So that would be pretty much it. Some people that were experienced would be like, okay, he lost me. I can walk out. He can't do anything to me, right? But then there's other times where somebody be a little nervous if it's like a kid or something like that.
All right.
Usually if it was kids, we wouldn't bust them. We'd just say, hey, go over there. Their security sucks. We got to play. That's where you want to go.
Go to the other store?
Yeah, go across the street. You're going to get away with it.
When I worked at Blockbuster, we weren't allowed to even do anything about shoplifters. Just let them go. Maybe that's why they're out of business now. I don't know. But
wow, they had some tough policies over there at Blockbuster.
No, it was like you could call the cops after you saw them walk out and got in their car and left. Like you weren't allowed to apprehend them. You weren't allowed to try to prevent them from leaving the store. You just let them go.
He stole 4 bags of microwave popcorn.
Well, that's kind of how it got, because let's say some dude's like, oh, my God, I'm busted, and he runs and he hits his nuts on one of those big, giant red balls outside of Target. Yeah. Like, I could get in some trouble.
Exactly. That's, I think, what they were trying to prevent at Blockbuster, at least. And it got to a point, too, like I would see kids, like, trying to jimmy open a game case, take the disc and pocket it, and like they're trying to be suspicious. I'm like, dude, I don't care. Just go ahead.
Most places are like that now. For the most part, they don't want you to get injured. They don't want anything to happen to you, because then it's on them.
It was more, you know what? We focused on safety, and then a lot of times it was the employees robbing us, or not us, but the store blind.
Really?
Yeah, big time. Big time.
Big.
Inside jobs.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find this listener's text from yesterday. Maybe I can bump into it, because I asked them, okay, if you're asking Josh to remember these 5 steps of apprehending a shoplifter, I want to make sure that, they match up. So I'll get back to you if I find the sumbitch. It's great. It's great that you remember all that.
Yeah, I mean, it was very specific, so it would be tough to forget some of that. Because if you forgot one thing, when you write up your report, that was it. Or if you made a mistake, right? If some guy ditched it, that would suck.
You'd look like a fool.
Yeah.
Picturing like the asset protection, chief, Pitney in my office.
One of those things. I had one of my bosses was probably the best boss I've ever had. Next to Derek, of course, our current boss. Awesome dude. I absolutely loved this guy. He was super funny. He was very effective. Taught me a lot. And that's kind of when I realized I don't want to do this anymore. But I'm like, whatever, just going after fishing lures and stuff like that.
I suppose it's a risky thing, because if you accuse a customer of shoplifting and they did not, that's bad for business.
Oh, I'd feel pretty terrible about it, too.
The company's going to get all uppity about that because maybe they've lost a customer. And then, like you said, here you are making minimum wage, and everyone in the company is going to look at you as if you're trying to bring the whole joint to the ground.
Right.
That's no fun. I'm trying to find this text, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Any of you ever been accused of text? You take a guess what I'm doing right now. I'm reading text messages. Have any of you ever been accused of shoplifting and it was false?
I was in a group of people who I was not shoplifting, but 2 people were. So they kind of held all of us for a little while. I had a friend who he would go and into a county seat or something. Is that lucky now?
Oh, man, county seat.
Yeah, so he went to a county seat, and
They used to sell blue jeans for you younger people.
Right, that's what I was just going to say.
They used to sell blue jeans. Yes, go ahead.
They sold, like, Girbaud jeans and Guess jeans at the time. They were pretty popular, and they were expensive. So he would just put on a pair after pair after pair, and he was dumb enough not to take off the little white magnet or whatever it is.
Amateur.
Security tag.
He would not take that off?
No. The first time he did, and after a while he figured it out. So he'd always have holes in his jeans where he'd cut them out. Up towards the hip.
But he could get out of the joint. He could walk out of a joint with that tag on it. And
the time I was with him, he couldn't. So that was his first time trying it, where he walked out and it looked like he put on about 25 pounds. And he got busted, so we stuck around for that. So I wasn't necessarily accused of shoplifting, but I was held with the other guys.
I got accused of shoplifting porn.
Oh.
this was, and I was an older guy, And what I mean by that is, older than 16. That's probably the age where you're most likely to be accused of shoplifting. Maybe also the age where you're most likely to be accused of shoplifting porn. I probably was in my 30s, and we swung by a magazine shop. I think the gimmick was we were going to a bachelor party, and so we were trying to buy some porn or some filth to bring to the mix. We went back in the Squeaky Door Saloon, which is what we used to call the porno section at magazine shops. For what you remember that, Josh? The door to the porn section at the magazine shop always had squeaky saloon doors.
Uh-huh.
So everybody knew when you were going in there to look at boobs, right?
I always wondered if that was on purpose.
It might have been.
Because it was. I mean, everybody called it the same thing, the Squeaky Door Saloon, when you go in there.
Yeah, it might have been a setup.
I remember as a kid staring through that just as soon as it opened, and then it closes, and then you're looking again when it opens. It's going back and forth. And I was not only curious as to what were on the boxes of the VHS tapes, but the people that were in there. Like, do I recognize any of them? What kind of people go into these places?
So, I don't know what. Like I said, we were looking for some kind of porno. And I walked in. We looked around. I don't know if I grabbed anything to bring to the counter, but when I walked out the Squeaky Door Saloon, there was a lady employee and a male employee waiting for me. And they kind of got in my path. And I said, can I help you? And they said, we're going to need to take a look inside your jacket. And I said, you guys, you really think that I stole some porno movies? Sir, just open your jacket. And I did. There was nothing in there. And I was free to go. But it was really effing embarrassing for a 34-year, 5-year, whatever the hell, I was in my 30s, to have been pulled aside by those two people. All the 12-year-olds over in the, give me one of those card games that you young people used
Magic the Gathering.
Yes, all the 12-year-olds in the Magic the Gathering section were giggling and pointing and excited because they thought they were going to see me cuffed and stuffed. I don't know what I did, what movement I might have made back there that led them to believe that I was, stealing a Jenna Jameson all-girl porno movie, but I hadn't done a damn thing.
I got kicked out of a grocery store for like a year because I got caught stealing a bobby pin.
Yeah. That's a little extreme.
Yeah, I was with my mom, and I was suspended from school at the time, and I also
unrelated.
I also had strep throat, so I was just miserable. And so we were at the grocery store getting my medication, and I was so hot and like sweaty from being sick, and so I was like, I need to do something with my hair. Like, I need to get it off my neck, or else I'm just gonna like vomit everywhere. So I just grabbed a bobby pin, threw it in my hair. Next thing you know, somebody comes up to me and my mom as we're leaving the store and took it. Like, it was one of the most serious things ever. They took it so seriously, to the point that my mom was like, dude, I'll just buy it. Like, I'll buy the whole pack. I'll buy 10 packs. Can we just go, please? And no, they're like, you can't come back for a year.
So neither you or your mother have any respect for authority?
Death metal hippie Jesus said he got caught opening and eating some Pop-Tarts in a grocery store while super stoned. Said there was a cop there, handcuffed me, brought me to the security room. On the way there, I just screamed, I'm just looking for some flaxseed oil, man. He said he got banned for a year, but nobody even took his picture, so that banning must have been not really top priority for him.
Me and my friends used to do that quite a bit.
What's that now?
Just like stroll through the store and grab something and eat it. That was so bad.
Yeah, you were a bad kid. Were you ever, when in your life have you ever been completely healthy?
Right now?
Right now?
Yeah, for like the past 4 months.
Okay.
I'm a little worried about Dana. Dana, you're still coughing like my dad. And my dad...
I don't get you people over there.
My dad smoked for decades and died of lung cancer.
I don't get why either one of you why you can't get healthy.
I haven't coughed in weeks.
I just heard you cough 20 minutes ago outside the, what do you call this thing we're sitting in here?
That was not me.
Studio.
Oh, it was you. You were walking right by. Yeah, I saw the same thing. I think maybe you're doing it so much you don't realize it. I'm concerned.
Oh.
That's a lot of phlegm you got in. What's going on?
And Ashley you always seem to be telling a story where sickness is the subplot.
I used to get strep quite a bit. Like I was good for at least twice a year.
Yeah, I got that a lot when I was a kid.
That's the worst.
Later on this morning, Janel Klein's going to pop on by. We get to show her our new garbage pile.
She's going to be heartbroken without Wapple.
I was wondering that myself.
What do you mean without Wapple? He's sitting right there.
She gets jazzed to see and talk to Wapple every time she's in.
Yeah, she does.
Well, I don't understand. Wapple's sitting right there.
Yeah, but she can't, talk to him off air.
They'll be in a different studio.
Oh, she can go in there and hang out all she wants.
We laugh, we giggle.
Yeah, you guys love each other. Well, maybe we'll have to bring somebody else over here so she can get in there with Wapple. I was thinking the same thing yesterday. She might be kind of bummed. She loves sitting in the same studio with Wapple.
Well, I think we can probably come up with something to make everybody happy.
They're over here meowing at each other.
True story.
Oh, my gosh.
Be listening for your crack at the sod ski. Be listening for that keyword and when to text in so you can get qualified for up to 2,000 square feet of sod plus delivery and installation from A&L Sod. We've been talking about that the last couple of days. Be listening for Twins tickets this morning on the Half-Fast Morning Show.
And a concert announcement later this morning.
Oh, yeah.
One that I'm pretty excited about, except for the day of the week.
Right.
That is a bummer.
We have to sit on this till 9 a.m., Josh?
Yeah.
We got to sit on this till 9, but
everybody, I'm sure, already knows. I mean, that's usually how it goes, right? It's out on the internet, but we can't say anything.
Well, I never know these things. I guess it's still surprising to me because I never know these things ahead of time. And there's got to be at least a few other people like me who aren't constantly staring at social media and learning about these things ahead of time. So, yeah, we got to get to that at 9 o'clock. We got a hell of a process ahead of us. We'll take a break. Before you know it, I think the stupid news is coming up next on the program.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
It is the triple savings spring sale at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Install a new furnace and AC combo and save up to $3,000 with manufacturer and utility rebates along with Standard Heating's discount. That's a trifecta. Visit standardheating.com.
What companies would you want to work for? Just Capital is a nonprofit that tracks which companies are a force for good. Companies like Bank of America, which just earned the prestigious Just Capital 2024 seal. Bank of America is ranked #1 in the banking industry and #1 for their ongoing commitment to workers, offering best-in-class benefits, including a minimum wage of $25 an hour by 2025. Visit justcapital.com to learn how a just business is a better business.
Furnished by Just Capital.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
All right. You know, we were having a conversation on the life of an asset protection agent, a.k.a. a shoplifting security type of character. What do I have here? You know, like a shoplifting rent-a-cop type character at a department store. Josh lived that life for a stretch of time when he was a young man. He made the world a safer place and should be recognized and appreciated for that.
About time somebody spoke up and said it.
Texts have been rolling in on that conversation that we had, Josh. What does this one say here? Went shopping years ago with my mom, says Up North Metal Mullet. I'll get there. Up North Metal Mullet Jesus. Went shopping years ago with his mother. He was in his 20s at the time, and he was caught stealing an AC/DC cassette tape. They took him upstairs to a secret room. They showed him the videotape of him stealing the cassette tape. They let him go, and he was banned for a year. But he says the joke's on them. My jean jacket pockets were full of free stuff. Stole all kinds of other stuff, but they were just focused on that AC/DC cassette tape. He says, and my mom never knew. Well, yeah, you can't let your mother know something like that.
Subtext, he's got an AC/DC cassette and a jean jacket. That friggin' rules.
Yeah, that does rule. Oh, I had one more. Where is it? Oh, for Christ's sake, did I misplace it? I had one more. Yeah, this is it. Okay. Cameraman Jesus texted in. My cousin was a security guard many years ago. He caught someone stealing something, called the police. The bad guy ran out the building, and cameraman Jesus' cousin tackled the guy out in the parking lot. And they later found out that the guy was apparently on the FBI's most wanted criminal list.
Wow, nice.
But his cousin ended up getting fired anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Figured as much when he said tackled him.
That was against procedure?
Yep.
Ain't that about a bitch? Some people know that life, Josh. They do. Do you refer to those other people who have worked in that industry? Are they your brothers?
Brothers and sisters.
Brothers
yeah.
and sisters, of course. All right.
I love this conversation because it's fun to scroll through the texts I'm receiving on my phone from friends calling me a super dork and worse.
He was a Target store security guard, and that's what's prompting you to call him a super dork?
Yeah, well, I'm getting a few texts.
Did you wear the neon vests that they wear now? Because I do see those vests, and I always think of you whenever I'm at Target.
No. Luckily, I never had to do that. And nobody did that I worked with. I'd bounced around between a few of them, and I never saw anybody wearing a uniform. That was far after my time served.
The ones I see now, they have like a blue polo, and it's tucked in. They look badass.
I'm sure there's both.
Everybody looks badass in a tucked-in blue polo, Wapo. You know that. Josh, I'm confused. You know, there's no one that loves you more than I do, but there are dozens of other elements to you that might be called super dorky.
Oh, I know.
Why are they picking on you for the Target
And I
thing?
feel like more and more come out, as we go. Yeah, they're picking on me. Because I don't like walk around and say, hey, I did this. And so some of them are finding out for the first time.
Those people can go F themselves. All right. Let's let her buck here with today's stupid news. Here's one way you can tell if you've got a cool grandma. You've got a cool grandma if, amongst other things, she'll come on down to your grade school with you and help you beat the piss out of one of your classmates. In a place called Mount Morris Dam Township in Michigan, a grandmother was arrested last Thursday. She allegedly helped her granddaughter beat up another student at the neighborhood elementary school.
That's who you want to be, huh? That's the life you choose to live.
Isn't that something?
Even if I was in elementary school, I know this is a little girl, right? But I don't know if I could punch someone who's being held down. That seems like it's against the code. Don't you think?
There's something to be said about that.
And I'd also be embarrassed if a parent and I grew up with my grandma in the same house. I'd be pretty embarrassed if they stepped into a dispute I was having.
Even in grade school.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Probably especially in grade school.
Nobody would forget that.
And you might have made the same mistake I did when I first read the word grandma in the story. I naturally pictured, an old blue-haired lady who can't quite get around all that well anymore. The story here never does mention the fighting granny's age, but I would assume this is one of those deals where one thing led to another over the years and grandma might only be 40 years old. And you've seen that bit before. That's just my guess. This wasn't any old sweater-wearing grandma. This was probably about a 40-year-old lady. So here's the deal. Grandma and her granddaughter walked in to the grade school last Thursday. The two of them were there for a special behavioral meeting kind of a thing. The granddaughter was having problems with one of her classmates. That ain't good, but it happens. So Granny and her granddaughter walk in for this behavioral meeting. At one point or another, the grandmother saw the little girl her granddaughter has a beef with. So she and her granddaughter followed the little girl into a bathroom. Here's what Josh is referencing. Grandma then held down the other little girl while the granddaughter beat her ass. Grandma was taken to jail for this. The two of them never made it to that behavioral meeting.
Could have learned something, maybe.
Yeah, they might have to schedule another one at a neutral site.
Yeah, you just can't have grown folks tuning up little kids or holding one back. So you know how. Not at the local grade school or anywhere else. Grown folks shouldn't be getting involved in stuff like that. Although I do want to make it clear that any grade school kids out there, that if they push me too far, I'm not afraid to fight a fourth grader. I am not afraid to fight a fourth grade kid.
I am in case I lose. I could not get past that.
Oh, that would be,
Imagine the text I'd get then.
You think your friends think you're a nerd now or a loser now. You just wait till you get your ass kicked by a couple fourth graders.
Okay, better than Dana at Mario Kart. Jesus is reminding me. I did once. I was kicked in the balls by a buddy of mine, which was a common occurrence where it was a surprise nut kick or something like that when friends would walk around. They'd get each other, and his mom did hold him and say and ask him what's going on, and I said he kicked me in the nards, and she said, Mike, did you kick him in the nards? He said he did, and we're all laughing. She's like, all right, one free shot. And I did wind up and hit him. So I guess I would hit somebody that was held down. But it was different because it was his own mother.
What a cool mom that is.
It was a common thing where it wasn't like uncommon to hit each other in the nuts. It happened so often that it didn't seem like a big deal.
Yeah,
That seems different to me, but you're right. On a technicality, I did punch somebody being held down.
It is different. What you went through there was different. I got punched in the face by an adult when I was about 12 years old because I had gotten in a fist fight with the grown dude's son. And I'll tell you, that hurt. He got me good. Punched me right in the friggin' face. Grown man. I was only 12.
Yeah, I told you that when I was maybe 15. Well, it was before I was driving, a couple years before, so maybe 14. And where we were biking around, one of my friends was like kind of being a dick to an older guy. I happened to be standing right in front of the older guy, and he punched me from behind, right behind the ear. Saw stars, birds, all that kind of stuff. Thought I was going to pass out. Thought I was going to throw up. Boy, did that hurt.
I'll tell you what, when this dad punched me, he was drunk. He was very, very drunk. And when I saw him coming and saw the look on his face, saw how drunk he was, I knew he was going to punch me. And he did. Did I ever tell you? There was a great moment when I was about 15 where my mom kind of surprisingly stood up for me at a behavioral meeting. Again, ninth grade, there was a counselor at our school that was a complete prick bag. I hated his guts. He's likely dead now, so, I win. But I got pulled into this, meeting. My mother had to come to discuss my behavior. And the counselor sits down, and he starts going on and on about how me and my friend Dane, we never go to class. All we do in the hallways is mimic WWF wrestlers and throw garbage and raise hell. And he says, about me and my friend Dane, they're not funny. They think they're funny, but they're not, is the rant this counselor went on with my mother and I sitting there in his office. And although Dane and I were total F-offs, my mom must have sensed that the guy was a prick because she said to the guy, I think you're just an angry person who needs a reason to push around 15-year-old kids. And I'm sitting there. I mean, not that, my mother and I, had differences where she would never, ever, step in for me. But I was just kind of surprised. And my favorite part was when my mother said to the counselor, she said, I've seen my son and his friend Dane do all the wrestling routines that you mentioned. And she said, guess what? You're wrong. They are funny. And the dude was totally thrown by this. He got wise with my mother. He did. He said something like, oh, well, good luck with your future then, Mrs. Bourne, and have fun watching your son accomplish nothing with his life. Something like that. You know what I mean? And my mom said, yeah, whatever, tough guy. Goodbye.
Oh, my mom would have absolutely lost it on him at that point.
And then you walked out and said, I got 2 words for ya.
Yeah.
I don't think DX was around back then.
Had DX been around at that point, you're right, Wapo. Had DX been around at that point, I would have been dumping suckets all up and down. But maybe I quoted Macho Man Randy Savage or something. But anyway, one of the purest feelings of joy that I've ever had in my life was fast forward a year later. We're driving around town, and we see this prick counselor behind the wheel of his broken Ford Escort or whatever he drove, right? We see him on the street, and I said, let's get the sumbitch. And I hung my body all the way out the passenger side of the car with both my middle fingers up. I mean, I was basically touching his vehicle. I was hanging so far as we're at a stoplight. And I just, F you, bitch! It's a beautiful thing. I know it was totally immature, but he had it coming. You know how it is, Josh. You've been around. When it comes to trading things, some might call it buying things, obtaining something in exchange for payment. I like to call it trading. Some places don't take credit cards. Some joints don't take cash as payment. Similarly, a Burger King restaurant in Colorado won't take meth rocks as payment.
I think there's a couple places all of us know where they would take meth.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, definitely.
In payment. It is kind of weird to me how many places no longer take cash. I mean, I rarely ever have it, but the couple times I've tried to pay, like Target Field, they don't take cash, or do they?
Nope,
No,
they don't. I'm so glad that I'm not one of the many reasons why I'm glad I'm not a server or a bartender anymore is because nobody takes cash, and that's all I ever had. And so, like, I'm not going to go to the bank and put it in the bank. It's way too much work.
It was sweet over the weekend. I just went to a place and they offered like a 4% discount if you paid in cash.
Oh, cool.
So I took that.
Yeah, you see that a lot more now.
Yeah, and I was like, why don't they do that? And I mean, now the discount I got was like $2 off, so now the server gets an extra $2.
Yeah, I've seen that on the bottom of a restaurant receipt after I already paid.
Oh, nuts.
Wonderful. Perfect timing.
A 40-year-old dude in Colorado by the name of Eugene Robertson. Eugene was found guilty of multiple charges here recently, including a bizarre interaction he had at a Burger King restaurant. It's a couple years ago, so the whole schmear just went to court. He went to the Burger King restaurant in 20, then 22. He'd gone on over through the drive-thru. He offered to pay with he ordered some dinner. He offered to pay with a baggie of meth instead of monies. The employee refused, so Eugene pulled a gun out on him, on the employee. He didn't shoot anybody. He drove off. Then he tried pulling a similar bit at a 7-Eleven across the street. 7-Eleven didn't accept meth rocks in trade for their goods either. He pulled a gun on the 7-Eleven employee also, just like he did on the Burger King employee. He did fire that time. But this is a beautiful thing. Someone else there at the 7-Eleven had a gun, like a fellow shopper had a gun, and fired at Eugene, and there was a brief gunfight inside the 7-Eleven. No one was hit. Eugene did shoot out a surveillance camera, though. I don't know if that was on accident or on purpose.
I'm going to guess, based on the fact he wasn't hitting anything he was aiming at beforehand, just a lucky shot on accident.
Eugene drove away again from the 7-Eleven gunfight. 15 minutes later, he was shooting into an apartment where one of his friends lives.
It's not nice.
The police showed up, found Eugene in the bushes, and he was arrested. A witness later told police that there was something off about Eugene. He was talking about God and carrying a Bible around town. Yeah, we've heard that one before.
Yeah, that's scary. He's hiding in the bushes.
The cops asked Eugene, after everything was all said and done, after the dust had settled, the cops asked Eugene if he was okay. He said that he was. He said he was not physically hurt, but he said his feelings were hurt.
That can take longer to recover from. Sometimes you never do.
Mm-hmm.
He does seem a tad edgy and sensitive based on his previous actions.
Yes, he does. His feelings were actually hurt. So long, Eugene. He's not welcome around here anymore. He's going away for a long, long time.
That'd be pretty sweet to have a Burger King and a 7-Eleven right across the street from each other.
Oh, that must be a good neighborhood.
Yeah, no kidding.
Never go hungry.
What's the 7-Eleven? What do they call their the drink? Slushy?
Slurpee?
It's a Slurpee there, not a slushy.
Yep.
I'm not sure, but
boy.
I'll follow the words of the others.
Used to love the Slurpee.
Never been to a 7-Eleven.
Really?
No, never.
A few blocks from where I grew up, there were two right across the street from each other.
Is that weird how that happens sometimes?
Did they battle?
Well, I guess I don't know if there was a friendly competition or unfriendly competition, but it was two different gas stations, and then it became a 7-Eleven, and then the other one decided, you know what, F it, we're going to become a 7-Eleven as well.
Trying to keep up with the Joneses in the neighborhood. They're a fancy new 7-Eleven. We'll do it the same thing.
I also, Ashley, I think I only made it into 1 or 2 7-Elevens in my lifetime. There were none in my neighborhood. I think we had to go all the way to Hopkins.
Are they still around anywhere?
No idea. I've only been in 1 or 2. Okay, this year would be our first English story in a while. And it's been nice. It really has. A lady in a town called Manchester. She upped and started waving a damn samurai sword in her neighbor's faces. The face. It says here an argument about cleaning up dog turds got out of control. Cleaning up the dog turd piles. I'll say it again. 40 years ago, nobody cared whose dog crapped in whose yard. Nobody cared. These days, people act like the dog pushed nuclear waste out of its ass, and if you don't pick it up within 30 seconds, we're all going to die. I don't understand this. But anyways, the samurai sword gal, she goes by the handle of Rebecca Lowe. It sounds like she's one of these folks that's all hung up on where the dog turds go. She was hollering at her neighbor about how their dog was dropping coilers in her yard. At one point or another, she grabs her stupid sword and started windmilling at people. But from what I can take away here, crazy samurai sword lady, Rebecca, she messed with the wrong neighbor. The next door lady, how do I say that? The next door neighbor lady wasn't afraid of the sword. She grabbed Rebecca by her hairdo and punched her in her smart mouth.
That's badass. I don't think I would go near somebody that was swinging a sword.
No, I walked the other way at that point.
I guess if it looked like they could barely wield it, maybe I would, but you're right. Your first instinct should be to run away from that. Unless you have a bigger sword or a couple of guns or something.
Yeah, I guess I was picturing Uma Thurman and Kill Bill, and that would terrify me.
She was pretty talented with that.
Pretty prolific with that sword.
So next up, I guess Rebecca with the samurai sword, she started waving it around at her neighbor's boyfriend. She's an idiot. The cops found out that Rebecca has come unglued before like this. She threatened a 16-year-old kid with a knife years ago, too. So I think they're going to have to put this one away for a while.
Chugged Up Plumber Jesus said in Arizona, it is a requirement to get into a gunfight at any 7-Eleven. I didn't realize that.
They just hand you a gun as you walk in.
And everybody's saying Speedway and 7-Eleven are the same thing now.
I got a copy on that. I do.
I live next to a couple of Speedways.
I love Speedway.
Yeah, I'm not too picky. I like all those types of joints. They got everything I need in there. They got tobacco products. They got snack food. They got something or another to drink.
Oh, yeah. I just at the gas station by me, I got some chili cheese Fritos beef jerky. Didn't even know that was a thing.
Whoa. No way.
Yeah, I had no idea.
You can't. You got to maybe deliver that line a little more subtly, Josh. I mean, that's exciting stuff.
Subtly?
Yeah.
Oh, chili cheese Fritos, beef jerky.
Yeah. Because that's
well, it's just more quietly than.
That sounds pretty amazing.
I enjoyed it. My wife didn't, but her mouth is dumb. Yeah, she can't. She doesn't know what's good.
Stupid.
I wonder what would happen if you mix that with a chili cheese Frito. Combined it.
What?
The beef jerky and the chili cheese Frito. Then you got some extra crunch in there.
Oh, I just let it sit out for 3 weeks. I get all the crunch I need.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say mix it with pineapple juice so I can tell my violent diarrhea story again. If you're mixing chili cheese Frito flavored beef jerky with chili cheese Fritos, you pretty much get the same damn thing, I think.
Yeah, extra crunch.
Staying on the topic of crazy people with swords, You ought to see this here video of a fella walking down the street in Santa Monica, California. A creative guy. You can't deny that. He turned his shopping cart into a barbecue grill. He's got some kind of a damn sword that he's using as a skewer. He loaded up the sword with carcass, and he's grilling meat while he's pushing his flaming shopping cart down the street.
This is up on 93x.com.
Yeah, check that out. There's an open flame in the cart, like where you'd put the groceries. You got to see it to fully understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. So I'll try again. So the portion of the cart where you'd put your groceries, that's on fire. I couldn't tell. What was he using for? Was he using wood, coal?
Kind of look like giant stalks or something. I don't know.
But he had a fire cooking inside the cart, takes the sword, loads it up with carcass, and kind of hangs it over the top, of course, over the top of the flame. But check it out on our website. Dude was arrested on the streets of Santa Monica, California over the weekend. I've heard that if you want to see oddball behavior, Santa Monica is where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
But I know nothing about California. I've never been.
I've been around there.
Been there a few times.
They say it's like the Anoka of Southern California. If you want to see derelicts, Santa Monica's the spot.
Yeah, not bad.
Kind of like Anoka. Or North St. Paul. Nothing, Ashley?
It was North St. Paul.
Pardon me?
I lived in North St. Paul.
That's what I said.
It's a little bit different. Oh, I thought you said St. Paul. Sorry, I didn't hear the North.
One's got a beach, the other doesn't. Otherwise, the people are the same.
There's video going round and round of this dude dragging his shopping cart. Okay, it says here flaming wood, Josh. I don't know.
It didn't look like that to me, but I mean, on the bottom of the cart, there was some stuff that probably was that.
Eventually, he would stop from time to time and fuel the flames with some Bud Light beer.
Surprised that works.
He had barbecue sauce in the cart. So he must have known what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
He got arrested. He did run away. I don't know why he would. He's facing a misdemeanor charge of theft for stealing the shopping cart, a reckless burning because of the open flames, and resisting arrest. They say here because the sword was being used as a meat skewer, the man likely won't face any weapons charges.
It had a practical use.
No, it's just a toothpick.
It looked pretty sweet, I got to be honest.
Yeah.
And I don't know what he was cooking, but it looked pretty good.
Yeah, a giant shish kebab.
It looked good. What do we have here now? I believe Cubby. Oh, yeah. We got a little story of a guy standing up to the man. Repping the little guy up against a big, powerful company, you might say. An Argentinian man has become the talk of South America, it says here. He reportedly barricaded himself inside a car dealership and refused to leave until the dealership gave him the pickup that he had already made an advanced payment on. What I don't have in front of me at all during the entire story, Josh, how long did he sit there and refuse to leave? The story isn't clear about that. Do you know?
It doesn't say. Yeah, I don't know.
Our hero is a fella called Abelardaro. That's his first name. Trust me, there's absolutely no reason for me to make an attempt at the last name. Abelardaro is his first name. He's being called a living symbol of the common man's struggle against the shady practices of car dealerships. And I'll try to give you the details here without going too damn long. He sold his old pickup, made a down payment for a new one at a dealership in a town called Buenos Aires, Argentina. But after paying the advance money, he never heard back from the dealership. He never got so much as a phone call. Whenever he got in touch with the joint, they just referred him to another department. They were giving him the by God runaround, according to Abelardaro. He claims he was offered a car for the down payment he made and told he would have to pay extra if he wanted the new pickup truck. That wasn't the original deal, though. So he went on down to the dealership. He had his whole family with him, including his daughter and son, and he decided that they wouldn't leave without the pickup. The local cops tried to talk him out of it. He told them to piss off. And there he sat. Next thing you know, social media dorks are all over this. He had the money to buy the truck outright. He said, I had 13 million pesos to pay off the rest of the truck. I told the dealership this. I said, bring me the truck. I'll pay for it in cash right here. They treated me like a countryman, as if they knew everything, and I understood nothing. I did see one photo with a guy in the dealership. It was kind of cute, because he's kind of a roly-poly little peckerhead, and he was wearing a cape.
Yeah, I was wondering about the cape. He added a little importance to himself there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no wonder they didn't take you seriously.
That's a good point.
Well, I don't think he walked into the joint wearing it. I think after the drama built up and he became a social media hero, that's when he put on a cape. I think he kind of fell in love with his own story, On social media, people were cheering him on, reporting their own issues with how dealerships treat customers.
You're onto something, though, Ashley. It doesn't really matter when he put it on. He brought a cape. Yeah. He happened to have a cape with him.
Got to have a cape at the ready.
In the end, the story got so big that the dealership paid the man back his down payment just to get him out of their friggin' shop. He ended up buying a used truck from a different dealership, I would imagine. But he's not done yet. He plans to take the dealership to court. He told the local news, the truth is they offered trucks they didn't have.
Maplewood Auto Mall would never do that.
Heck no, they wouldn't.
He said it's a scam. They use your money and then try to make you another deal. The dealership denies that they're sleazy.
Who knows? Maybe it was a misunderstanding.
I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
Very well could be.
I do like the looks of the guy, though. Seems like the type of guy you might want to have a beer with or something.
Dude. He does look like he'd be a lot of fun.
Looks like he's got some stories underneath that cape.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got to close her out. And this one's fun. One of those last wishes type of deals where a dead guy's family honored one of his last requests after he checked out. As they should.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this story is effing English, so I have to take the time to explain certain effing words and terms. Damn, I hate the way they talk. But here's what I got. An old-timer who worked as a miner. He checked out. Before he went down, he told his family to, quote, just stick him in a dumper truck after he died. And they went ahead and did just that. Now, here's the part where I have to effing explain, just to be clear. Not a big old dump truck, but what they call here a dumper truck. I think here in America, we just call it a dumper, and don't get cute with that. Not quite as large as a dump truck. It's got a bucket on the front skis for moving stuff around a construction site and whatnot. Sometimes they got wheels. Sometimes they've got tracks. Are you able to picture this?
Yeah.
Yep.
Good. So the guy, the old guy, 81 when he died, by the name of Dave Newton. Before he punched out, he started joking around that he wanted to have his coffin carried by the dumper. He wanted to have his coffin carried by the vehicle when he's gone. He mentioned this, 12 years ago. He suddenly died on March 20th of this year, and his family decided to get her done. His coffin was carried to and from the service in the dumper. Pretty cute. The pictures are cool. I don't know who got to drive the damn thing. Maybe it was one of his brothers or something, or an ex-coworker.
Looked like an older guy.
Dave, again, an ex-miner. They say he was the life and soul of any party. And here's proof right here. A comment from his family that this guy was the life of the party. His family said, Dave would always be the first one to get drunk at any family get-together.
Good for Dave.
Yeah. I would like to have had a cold one with Dave.
He was always the first guy to get hammered.
Sometimes he showed up hammered.
Me too, but I'm a lightweight. That's my excuse. This was a very English story because in one of the pictures, there's a guy, he's wearing what looks like an English type of suit. He has a top hat and a cane.
Yes.
It was like something out of Sherlock Holmes.
That's sweet.
I wanted to punch my computer screen when I saw that picture.
He just finished Peaky Blinders.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Denver with the timeout. We are tied. I love it. Don't call it. Tie ball game. Worst can happen. We go to overtime. Murray makes a move. Spins around. The Nuggets have won. Jamal Murray with the step back over the 7-footer Anthony Davis, calling game.
Most of you don't give two pumps, but there were a couple of great endings to a couple of separate NBA playoff games last night. You heard the call right there. Kevin Harlan and Reggie Miller calling that buzzer beater by Jamal Murray. Nuggets beat the Lakers on that last-second shot. The place is up for grabs. And then the ending to the New York Knicks-Philadelphia 76ers game was effing mental. We'll get into that. Randy Shaver will be here in about a half hour. Dick Bremer talked some baseball with us, but there were some great endings to a couple of NBA playoff games last night. Tonight, 6:30, right here in town at Target Center, Wolves and what's that other club we're playing?
Phoenix.
Suns.
The Wolves and the Suns. Game 2 tonight. See if the boys can stay hot. We'll talk about the hockey playoffs. The Twins got I think they got a new idea here.
Yeah. Kepler's back, baby.
They should keep doing that.
They got to have folks bring their dogs to the ballpark more often. They're undefeated with filthy canines in the stands. The Wolves, the Twins with, as Ashley said, the Strudel is back, Max Kepler. They beat the terrible Chicago White Sox 7-rip. We'll talk to Dick about that when he checks in a half hour. I wanted to also throw this into the mix. Not a morning guy, Jesus, texted me earlier this morning. And he sent video also, although it's tough. It's very grainy and whatnot, cell phone video. Last night, Not a Morning Guy Jesus tossed his first 300 game of bowling.
Oh,
wow.
Sweet.
On the final game of the final week of the season.
Wow.
Sent me the video. Congratulations, Not a Morning Guy Jesus. You know I'm a big bowling fan. I have great appreciation for the sport. I have deep regrets for not becoming a bowler as a young kid as opposed to messing around with hockey and football and all that crap. I should have been at the friggin' bowling alley. So I love that. I love your story. And it looks like he's one of those two-handed guys, too.
Oh, that's cool.
Like Jason Belmonte turns that. Look to me, the video's not. Looks like he's a two-hander. Congratulations on that 300. They put your picture on the wall now, right? Text me back. Every bowling alley I ever go to, they always put a picture of the bowlers, of the 300 bowlers on the wall.
And don't you get like a pin, too? Says 300 Club or something?
A pin like you'd put on your jean jacket or something?
No, like a bowling pin.
Oh, a pin, a bowling
display.
pin. Wouldn't that
in
be
the garage.
something? That sounds right to me, Wapple. Congrats, dude.
How cool would that be to know you accomplished something like that? Just once, even if it's just once.
Can't even do it in like bowling video games like that Silver Strike game they have in bars.
What a feeling. Awesome. What a feeling to get that 300.
Congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely. Josh's News is coming up next.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
It is the triple savings spring sale at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Install a new furnace and AC combo and save up to $3,000 with manufacturer and utility rebates along with Standard Heating's discount. That's a trifecta. Visit standardheating.com.
Former Navy SEAL Sean Ryan shares real stories from real people from all walks of life on The Sean Ryan Show. Comedian John Christ.
How long have you been in Nashville? Let's see, 2018 is when I moved here. I lived in an apartment. I didn't know anything about it. I lived in L.A. You were living in L.A.? How was that? Yeah. Well, let's see, good for my career. Sent me to rehab, though, so that's pretty much the sum of it.
The Sean Ryan Show on YouTube or wherever you listen.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
We're proud of all of our responders. They showed their professionalism, training, and restraint under the most dire of circumstances.
Law enforcement shot a suspect armed with a gun outside Target in Woodbury's Valley Creek Plaza during a standoff yesterday morning. According to police, officers were investigating stolen license plates on a vehicle in the parking lot when the suspect returned, then fought with officers when they attempted to arrest him.
Officers were alerted to a vehicle with stolen license plates in a retail parking lot off of Valley Creek Road in Woodbury. When they arrived, the vehicle wasn't occupied. While officers were investigating, the suspect returned to the vehicle and fought with officers when they attempted to arrest him. The officers saw the suspect had a handgun and disengaged.
They backed off when they realized he was armed, and the man barricaded himself inside that vehicle. In a statement, the Woodbury Police Department said the man, believed to be approximately 50 years old, is being treated for gunshot wounds at Regions Hospital. The incident was the first of 2 shelter-in-place alerts related to police activity yesterday. The second, one from Robbinsdale, went out to much more people than was intended, however. The Hennepin County Communications Division was supposed to send the notification to residents in a 1-block radius of a domestic standoff near the intersection of 36 and Broadway Avenues. But they did that by accident. The whole county got it instead. Police said all the people involved in the Robbinsdale incident suffered very minor injuries. So I was wondering, Ashley, Dana, and Nick, you guys live in Hennepin County. Did you get that alert?
No.
Nope.
You never did? Okay.
Yes,
they said
I
it went
did.
out to the whole... You did, Nick.
Yes. Yeah, I was watching the ball game. I believe I was... What time of night was this? I believe I was watching the Twins game. Yeah, and something popped up on the television, and I assumed it was a test or something, and then later on in the local news, they mentioned this deal.
Are you not in Hennepin County, Ashley?
I guess that's a really good question.
You don't know what county you currently reside in?
No, I've never had a reason to know, I guess, off the top of my head.
Well, you just bought a home. You don't remember
You got to pay taxes.
I'm thinking Coon Rapids is Anoka.
Oh, is it Anoka?
I think it is.
Okay.
That sounds right.
I think Wapple's right, but since you don't know, from now on, if anyone asks, you tell them you live in Hazard County.
Okay, I can do that for you.
Well, Josh, I mean, if my television wasn't on, how would I get this? Would it supposed to hit your phone?
That's what I would assume, but maybe your alerts are off.
It didn't hit my phone. It came up on my television. That's how it played out for me.
Yeah, yesterday was nuts. I was coming home from work, and I saw all the lights at the Woodbury Target, and I was like, what the hell is going on?
You said you saw the Bearcat?
Yeah, I looked out in the parking lot, and they had that badass Bearcat, and I'm like, dude, sweet. Something going on.
I wonder if they do birthday parties.
They just bust through your house.
So I'm in Dakota County. I wonder if, for my 50th, if they'd bring the Bearcat out.
We'll try to set something up for you,
If
Josh.
you're not allowed to, but you're still willing to, I won't say a friggin' word. I won't say anything.
Maybe you should try to get a ride-along in the Bearcat.
Oh, dude.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Should we cancel Goldie Gopher and talk to the folks who run the Bearcat
I want Goldie Gopher to be standing outside the turret or whatever that thing's called up there.
That would be so sweet.
Goldie Gopher driving the Bearcat, maybe.
Yes.
And then Nordy's up there with his mullet.
So you're driving by the Woodbury Target and you saw that yesterday.
Yeah, that was right next to my house. The news helicopter was going around all afternoon.
Did you have a laser pointer and point it at the pilot?
I missed an opportunity.
Yeah, got a story about, I don't think we'll have time to get to that, but we got another story about those.
Real quick, I have a buddy that on Snapchat, and he was inside the Target when that was going down. And so he was live, he was just putting it all on his Snapchat as things were happening. And he said, yeah, obviously they didn't let us leave, but they all got free Starbucks, which is nice.
Oh, that's nice of them.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Another Woodbury-related drama is making news today. A Minnesota state senator out of Woodbury was arrested on suspicion of burglary in Detroit Lakes early yesterday morning. This is very strange. A woman called police at 4:45 a.m. to report an active burglary at her home in Detroit Lakes. Officers responded to the scene and arrested the 49-year-old first-term senator. Apparently, the senator's stepmom and late father lived on the block where the burglary was reported. Elected in 2022, she's the vice chair of the State and Local Government and Veterans Committee. And before entering politics, she was a television meteorologist in the Twin Cities. She also serves as a lieutenant commander in the Air National Guard.
She stole what?
Well, they reported it as burglary. I don't know if she stole anything or not, or broke in, or what happened. odd.
Do you remember seeing her as a meteorologist?
No, I don't. Now, her mugshot looks very different from the meteorologist photos. But I know, they mentioned that she worked for Channel 5, but I did not recognize her, no.
Well, she's got an interesting thing going, huh?
I guess. I'd like to find out more about that.
Winning elections, stealing this and that.
In a special meeting a little over a week ago, the Ventura County, city, that is, California Council, voted unanimously to oust their city attorney simply because he may have jerked his chicken at a Chick-fil-A.
Oh.
However, his attorney said there may be an investigation, but no pending criminal charges. We're optimistic the investigation will bear out he did not commit any criminal acts, his lawyer said. He went on to say there's much exaggeration over some people who got upset at the Chick-fil-A. Authorities have been tight-lipped about providing details in that case.
I would hate to be accused of such a thing.
A lot of these elected officials are going a little wild.
You wouldn't like that either, would you, Josh, being accused of playing with yourself at a damn fast food shop?
Yeah, not at all. I mean, because people are always going to wonder,
yeah,
did he get away with masturbating at a chicken restaurant? He did, didn't he? He's that type of guy.
Yep.
A man accused of exposing himself to women at a Florida Walmart last week was caught on camera getting tackled by deputies after leading them on a brief foot chase. The Lee County Sheriff's Office responded to the Fort Myers Walmart Thursday, where a loss prevention officer said 35-year-old Jawan Jennings was following women while touching himself inappropriately. When deputies approached Jennings near the clothing section, he immediately bolted, leading them on a brief chase through the store. But as he was trying to exit, deputies tackled him and placed him in cuffs.
No, man, come here. What happened? Come over here. Put your hands behind your back. Oh, no, he's coming to you up front, 31 on foot.
You want to be disgusting and a pervert and try and outrun my deputies? My 4th precinct will help you out the door and leads you right into the Marcino Motel, Sheriff Carmine Marcino said.
Dude probably landed right on his boner.
Oh, I'll bet. The sheriff went on to say, while Jennings remains in custody, I'll make certain he's covered up in a red jumpsuit. Police say Jennings is a registered sex offender from a 2020 incident out of Connecticut. A 53-year-old Florida teacher was arrested after several women saw him exposing himself through a window at a Disney World hotel. Chris Allen Black, a math teacher at Douglas Anderson School of the Arts, was arrested after being seen naked and touching himself right in front of a window at the Walt Disney World Dolphin Hotel. A witness at the pool saw an unknown man, later identified as Allen Black, flogging that dolphin while overlooking the hotel pool. Another witness told police she saw the 53-year-old standing in front of the window, fully nude, while touching himself.
In talking to students, I know that he really enjoyed going to Disney World, and he went quite often. Some of the students and one of my clients told me that part of his office was decorated with Mickey Mouse paraphernalia.
You like going a little too much, it sounds like.
That's a little scary.
On Wednesday, the school's principal said Allen Black was reassigned while the Office of Professional Standards investigates. Unfortunately, it's not the first time a Douglas Anderson School of the Arts teacher was arrested. March 22nd of last year, 65-year-old vocal department chair Jeffrey Clayton was arrested for lewd and lascivious conduct. Also last year, 4 staff members were removed from the classroom as the school faced what was described as alleged misconduct.
Wow, sounds like a shady place to hang out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
That's here in town?
No.
Oh.
No, that was not. A deranged McDonald's customer choked, slugged, pistol whipped, and shot off the pinky of another patron because the poor guy didn't get sauce with his order. You can understand.
Yeah, of course.
48-year-old Wesley Bullock was so ticked off he didn't get his sauce. He walked up to the drive-thru window of the Florida restaurant and began screaming at an employee last Tuesday. When the victim intervened and tried to calm him down, Bullock went off. He grabbed the victim by the throat, slugging him and getting into a brawl until McDonald's staffers were able to break it up. But Bullock wasn't done. He followed the victim to a nearby Speedway gas station where he cut off the man's car, pulled and pointed a handgun at the man only to have the weapon misfire. Undeterred, Bullock then pistol whipped the victim, with the two men getting into a life-and-death fight over the gun. Bullock allegedly got off one shot, which struck the victim's pinky, taking it off. The wounded victim managed to get the gun away from his attacker and call the cops. Then a suspect accused of firing a gun last month at a Nashville McDonald's employee who charged the wrong price has been arrested. Again, you can understand. 25-year-old Dwight Mason Jr. was a rear passenger in the car that placed the order at the Dickerson Pike McDonald's drive-thru. The wrong amount was charged, and the people in the car complained about it to a 17-year-old McDonald's employee working at the drive-thru, police said. As staff were attempting to address the issue, the rear window came down, and police said Mason pulled a pistol. Turns out the 17-year-old was strapping too. He drew his own gun from his waistband, and both fired at each other. Everybody's armed.
My
What
goodness.
in the world? They're just going to end up shutting down drive-thrus. These people are going to ruin it for the rest of us.
Yeah, they just they've lost their privileges to go through the drive-thru.
At first, I was thinking, the 17-year-old kid would simply say, look, why are you troubling me? I'm a 17-year-old kid. But he was up to the task. He had his own weapon on him.
I kind of love that he was strapped.
That's got to be a hell of a neighborhood.
Yeah, he was ready to go.
Yeah.
He was ready to go. That's the first of 3 stories out of Nashville. In this next one, a 23-year-old Nashville man with a uniquely erotic last name, Samuel Lusty, was taken into custody last week after slashing the tires of a police officer who was hooking up with Lusty's lady. February 3rd, 911 got a call where the caller advised them he noticed his passenger side tire had been cut with a knife. The caller and his roommate, Colton Harris, are police officers, and he believed Harris was the intended target for being romantically involved with a female, Kristen Cowart, who lives in the same building. February 7th, officers investigated and spoke with Cowart, who stated she'd broken up with her boyfriend, Lusty, the night before. She said Lusty left and returned around 11 p.m., calling her phone repeatedly, driving around her building radically, and screaming threats at her and her roommate, Abigail Clark. Lusty accused her of cheating on him with Harris and was upset that he was a police officer because he didn't like cops. He then slashed both her and Clark's tires before driving off. Once Lusty was arrested, officers asked him if he vandalized anyone's vehicle. He denied it, but he did make several statements about Harris ruining his relationship and sleeping with his girlfriend.
What a punk.
In another story of relationship drama out of Nashville, 25-year-old Darly Sofia Barrios Pinto had a romantic relationship with her boyfriend, and then she had an altercation with that same boyfriend after finding numbers to multiple women and accused him of having an affair. When he admitted to having their numbers, she scratched his neck and chest. Darly told officers she received several phone calls from different women claiming her boyfriend was having affairs with them.
Oh, that's never good.
She scratched him up. She got the nails out.
Yeah, she scratched him real good. Ah.
Good for those girls being girls, though, giving her a phone call, letting her know that her man's a whore.
Shady.
I would have thought you'd say snitches get stitches, that type of thing.
Not when it comes to being a girl's girl.
The rules
exceptions.
The rules flex now and again, John.
I understand.
Yes.
Sure. It's important to be open-minded. The Minnesota Department of Transportation had a sign replacement project on its hands last night. After installing one with a goof, the agency misspelled Ide Mill Road, transposing the D and Y in the new sign at the Randolph Avenue and 35E interchange in St. Paul. Addie Mill Road, the sign at exit 10B read. 104B, I should say. Mistakes happen, and we're working to get the sign corrected, said MnDOT. A crew made a temporary fix, and a permanent sign was installed. It will be installed at a later date. It's not the first time in recent years a spelling blunder brought some unwanted attention. Last year, the agency was roasted on social media after posting signs in the town of Ogilvie where the I and L were in the wrong order. Ogilvie, the misspelled sign read. And in 2020, the contractor that rebuilt Interstate 35W between downtown and Crosstown Highway 62 installed 6 misspelled signs along the highway that 2 or more persons per vehicle was supposed to say before they were replaced. Well, you know what happens, but I bet that's pretty embarrassing.
I would totally be the one that would mess that up.
Yeah, you
terrible
would.
at spelling.
Looks good enough to me.
Maybe a lack of attention to detail?
Yeah, just horrible at spelling.
Are you not a strong speller?
Nope, not at all. Thank you for Google, though.
That helps you?
Yeah, it does.
That helps a guy? Yep. The first season finale of Shogun airs tonight on FX.
Spell it, Wapple. Spell Shogun.
Shogun.
All right,
Nailed it.
What else can we have them spell, Josh?
Oh, boy.
Onomatopoeia.
Nope, can't do that.
Cal Penn of the Harold and Kumar movies is 47. The number one wish granter of all time for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, Honda pitchman John Cena, 47. And Lee Majors, Steve Austin on the $6 Million Man, still handsome at 85. Got this text at exactly 7 this morning. Good morning, family. The text begins. Today is my Tuesday. Just checking in. Go Wolves from Checks In at 7 Jesus. And happy birthday to Brett Fan for Life Jesus from Moose the Mold Tech Jesus. And that's 93X News.
KARE 11's Randy Shaver.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
You saw him making that call?
You're not yelling at me. I did what I was supposed to do and check. I'm looking for him to get hit by the pitch. You got anything else to say? You're gone. Okay?
Oh, okay, Hunter.
Well, you know what? We're not going to need a John Boy breakdown of that one. We got a very clear.
Aaron, you're done.
There you go. And now Aaron's saying I didn't say anything.
You're gone.
Aaron's saying, hold on a second, I didn't say a word.
No, I don't care. I mean, you don't care. I did not say a word. It was a one-word dugout. I did not say anything, Hunter. Okay? I did not say it.
How do you wrap your head around what happened in the first inning?
Hard to. I really didn't even go after Hunter. I was more upset that appeal, and I said, Hunter, you can call it too. And he came back at me pretty hard, to which I didn't respond. I just said, okay, went down, and it's embarrassing.
That a scenario where you reach out to Major League Baseball about that?
Yes.
Tuesdays are busy around here. By God, they are. Let's start with Randy Shaver. Hello, Randy.
Good morning.
Janel, I think is how you say the name. Janel Klein. I can't see her. Is she here?
I'm here. Good morning.
There she is.
Way over there, Janel Klein.
Hi.
Thank you for coming in, Jungle Jane.
Great to be here.
And what makes Tuesdays even more special around here is we get to talk Twins baseball with the mayor of Minnesota baseball, Twins Ambassador Dick Bremer. Good morning, Dick.
Good morning, everybody.
Wonderful to have you back. Would it be okay now and again if we called you Richard, or is that just something that Tom Kelly and LaTroy Hawkins get to do?
Hey, we got a David Pecker in the news these days. I think calling me Dick Bremer is just fine.
Oh, man. Dave Pecker, huh? That's a good one right there. Randy Shaver, how many times would we be allowed to call you Randall before you snapped?
0, because that's not my name.
Well, then, okay, let's try it.
What if we called you Dick?
That's been done before.
Your full name is not Randall?
It is not, no.
Is it just Randy?
It is.
Oh.
Yes.
I got a buddy like that. The name on his birth certificate is Ricky. Not Richard or whatever else you might. It's just Ricky.
Sure.
Ricky.
Here's the deal. It's never too heartbreaking to see video or hear audio like we just did of Aaron Boone being ejected from a baseball game. But it was kind of funny that he really didn't say jack squat to the umpire.
It was funny, and it brought to mind one of the great manager-umpire stories I ever was made aware of. I wish we would have had the technology to pick up the audio about 20 years ago when Ron Gardenhire got into it with Hunter Wendelstedt, the umpire who was at the nucleus of this whole thing yesterday with Aaron Boone. So they had a little disagreement, shall we say, and it got a little heated on the field. And Hunter Wendelstedt, who's a second-generation Major League umpire, his father Harry was a longtime Major League umpire. And Hunter Wendelstedt said, you need to learn the rules. You should come to my umpire school. Mm-hmm. And without missing a beat, Gardy said, I'll go if you go.
That's great.
Oh, man.
That was one of the great spontaneous manager comebacks to an umpire I've ever heard.
That is so quick. That's so quick. That's a good one. You know, watching the game last night, Matt LeCroy joined the fellas in the booth, and they were joking around about how now that Matt LeCroy has aged a little bit, he looks like Ron Gardenhire. And when I took a closer look, they're right. I mean, they're right. He looks like Gardy, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, Gardy's a handsome dude.
Well, they were both coaches this past year at the Twins fantasy camp, and they do look an awful lot alike.
And LeCroy is coaching where, Dick Bremer?
He's with Rochester, the AAA affiliate of the Washington Nationals.
Okay. You think he becomes a big league skipper someday?
I sure hope so. I think the game needs more characters in it, like LeCroy. He never really panned out as a player the way the Twins had hoped. One of the reasons they let David Ortiz go is they felt that Matty LeCroy could at least do what David Ortiz was going to do, only as a right-handed batter, because they had a lot of lefties with, Jock Jones and Pierzynski and Mauer and Morneau and all those guys, Kubel. And so they thought, well, we can just let David Ortiz go. He's always hurt anyway. And Matty LeCroy, as a right-handed hitter, can hit for some power, and it just never worked out that way. But he's just a great, great guy, and the game, any game, needs a lot more people like Matty LeCroy.
Yeah, he's a great character, funny guy. And they told a funny story last night when they were talking about LeCroy's resemblance to Ron Gardenhire. They had Matt LeCroy tell some stories of back in the day when he was playing for Ron Gardenhire, and I'm sure you already know the story, Dick. Randy Shaver, maybe you know it too, but LeCroy gets hit on the hand by a pitch during a ball game. He's got to go off to the hospital for an X-ray, and Gardy tells him, bring the X-ray back. We'll see how you're looking. And I don't remember if there was a slight fracture or whatever damage legitimately LeCroy had to his hand. But for a goof, he had the doctors, he said, hey, print me off an X-ray of a horribly broken hand. Just beyond repair type of a thing. I'm going to bring it back to Gardy and play a prank on him. So they gave him an X-ray of just a hand that was mangled beyond, and he brings it back to Gardy and puts it up on the wall, and Gardy goes, oh, Jesus, or something like, What Gardy failed to notice, according to Matt LeCroy's story last night, was that it was the X-ray of an 8-year-old's hand. But at least for a split second there, Gardy thought, my God, what did you get hit by a car? That was just destroyed. There you go. Well,
there's so many great stories that involve Gardy, and that was such a fun period. I know for the fans too, but for a guy like me, what a great guy, and practical jokes all over the place. And another one involved Matty LeCroy. This was, I think, 2003. The Twins had won a division the year before, and all the players on that team were, kind of big shots now and notable people. So there's a spring training game, and Minkiewicz gets a base hit. And Minkiewicz wasn't known as a fast runner, but Matty LeCroy might have been the slowest runner in the league. And so Gardy pinch ran Matty LeCroy for Doug Minkiewicz. And Minkiewicz comes off the field shaking his head. Everybody in the dugout was just howling because you don't make that move during the regular season, but Minkiewicz had to come off the field to run for by Matt LeCroy.
Oh, too good.
That's good stuff. Tell you what, Dick Bremer, I think the old saying is just what the doctor ordered. The Twins have had a terrible time through the first 20 or so ball games this season, but now they face the Chicago White Sox 6 more times in the next 9 ball games.
And the White Sox are on a pace. They'll play presumably 162 games, and they're on a pace. I looked it up first thing this morning. They're on a pace to lose 140 of them.
Oh!
Oh, no.
Which would obliterate the record held by the New York Mets.
Oh, wouldn't that be a shame?
That was 120, and that's been the standard for a long time. And they'll certainly won't lose 120 games, much less 140. But, they're like every team. They're playing without some of their key.
Uh-oh. We're having problems with Dick's telephone.
He just dropped off.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Well, maybe sometimes it helps when when you hang up and call back anyway. So we'll get Dick back on the line.
He's talking about the Mets, though, and the Mets, when they lost 120 games back in 1962, they actually lost the first 9 games of the season. I looked this up this morning because I was curious, too. They, at one point in their season, were 12-19 in the middle of May,
Okay.
and then proceeded to lose 17 in a row. Then they lost 18 in a row in July, and they lost 13 in a row in August.
It's awesome.
Oh, my gosh.
The New York Mets finished that season with 40 wins. 40 wins, 120 losses, and finished 60 and a half games out of first place.
That's incredible. Dick Bremer's back. We had a little trouble with your cell phone there, Dick, but we'll try to keep her going here.
I'm back.
Yes. Randy, you've been warning us how bad the White Sox are.
I have been, because first of all, they lost their best player in Roberts, who got injured. They just got Jimenez back. They lost Moncado. Their pitching staff is in disarray. And they just can't score any runs. I mean, I think they're batting 190 as a team, which is the worst in baseball. They've been shut out 7 times already this season. The New York Mets, when they lost 120 games in 62, were only shut out 6 times that whole year. So they're on a record pace right now, with not a lot of hope in sight. And Dick probably knows better than I do. I have no idea what their farm system looks like. But at some point, if this continues, they're probably going to start messing around with their farm system. And, I don't know if there's anybody there that's going to save them or help them, but they're pretty bad. There's just no doubt they're pretty bad.
And it was just a year ago. I mean, we all thought the White Sox, or 2 years ago at least, they were one of the up-and-coming franchises with guys like some of the names you just mentioned, the pitching staff that was, Dylan Cease and Lance Lynn and Giolito and guys like that. And it's been rather dramatic to see how they've completely fallen apart. And they tore the front office apart a couple of years ago and are trying to rebuild that. It's going to be a long haul.
Max Kepler was back last night. Chris Paddock looked terrific, striking out 10 in 7 innings. And I know you have to. What's the word I'm looking for?
You have to take it with a grain of salt,
yes,
here, because it's the White Sox. And I'll say, from a fantasy baseball perspective, if you're playing daily fantasy,
here we go.
You take the pitcher that's going against the White Sox every damn day. Every day.
Especially as is the case tonight, Pablo Lopez.
Exactly.
Pablo Lopez tonight against a pitcher by the name of Eric Fetty,
who was overseas pitching. Actually, he's a pretty decent pitcher. But, I mean, if Paddock gets 10 strikeouts against the White Sox, then logic would tell you that Lopez is going to be better than that.
Oh, you would think so, yeah. So here we go. I mean, this is an opportunity for the Twins to get back in the mix with 6 more games against the White Sox in the next 9. And I think the other 3 are Los Angeles Angels, who aren't exactly tearing things up. So last night was fun. And they had the dogs at the ballpark.
Yeah, they did.
They're so cute.
They had the dogs at the ballpark. Although I'm still upset that they didn't let them just wander all over the damn place. There was one section I think you could... Dick, I can't remember for sure. You're not a big dog guy, are you?
I like dogs. I've just never owned one, which sounds like a contradiction. But for some reason, we always had cats growing up, and never. I don't particularly care for cats as an adult, but we had them growing up. But no, I like dogs. I just have never owned one.
Yeah, it was kind of fun seeing them in the stands last night. They should do it more often. So, 6:40 tonight. We'll see what Pablo Lopez does against that White Sox lineup. Now, as we discussed yesterday, Louis Varland demoted back down to AAA to St. Paul. They brought up a pitcher by the name of Ronnie Henriquez. He pitched last night. Simeon Woods Richardson might make a start here. Dick Bremer, we'll see. I think that's the overall word.
Yeah, when when Varland's spot comes up again, which will be in a few days, they'll bring him up to take over Varland's spot in the rotation. But they've got 4 with the White Sox here, and then I think 3, as you said, on the road. And then I would suspect somewhere's on that road trip it'll be Simeon Woods Richardson, who really gave the Twins awfully big lift. The only time they won, the only day that they won on the last road trip was the doubleheader day, and they won both of them, and Richardson really, really looked good.
Okay. I'm excited for that. I hate that every time we talk to you, Dick, we have to keep going through all these injuries, but what do you know, anything new and interesting about Royce Lewis or any other Carlos Correa, anything that you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they said that Royce is on the right track to return. Carlos, the only thing I know is what they said about his oblique pull or strain, abdominal strain, whatever it was, that wasn't as severe as they had feared. And I think we talked about this last week. I mean, look what Kepler did last night. First pitch, he cracks a 2-run double. So with those three guys, Kepler, Lewis, and Correa, and hopefully they'll all be in the lineup again here in a matter of a week or two, those are three of your top 5 guys in the batting order on any given day, and just the addition of one of those guys, Kepler, last night made all the difference in the world.
At first at bat, he just he gapped it, and Strudel looks like he's ready to go. Now, speaking of injuries, yesterday in Pittsburgh, Milwaukee Brewers pitcher Jacob Junis was taken away in an ambulance after being hit in the neck by a line drive during batting practice. He was standing in the outfield when he got whacked. He stayed down for about 20 minutes while being treated. He was alert, and they loaded him onto an ambulance and took him off to the hospital. Hopefully he's going to be okay. Dick, you must have been hit by a few stray baseballs over the years.
Well, as a member of the media, you're not allowed beyond third base or first base, so we have to stay in foul territory in the dugout area, and every once in a while, a ball would hit the L screen during batting practice and, clip me in the ankle, but nothing serious like that. It's, back in the day when they would, and teams, players usually don't take much batting practice on the field anymore, which is kind of a shame. But it was always fascinating to me that at any given time there might be 4 or 5 baseballs, between coaches hitting fungos, batting practice, somebody hitting fly balls to the outfield, whatever, 4 or 5 baseballs in motion at one time during workouts before a game. And it's almost amazing, that more like that don't happen. Remember, 15 years ago, whenever it was, Mariano Rivera was just shagging fly balls in the outfield, and he blew his knee out. I mean, there's just a lot of activity out on the field, and, we sure hope that Junis is okay.
You would think more guys would get smoked. Randy Shaver, your speaking delivery leads me to believe that you got hit in the head by a lot of baseballs over the years.
Well, as a pitcher, Nick, I did bean quite a few guys. So I do have that going for me.
Oh, man. So this poor guy, gets hit in the neck by a line drive. I mean,
you would think that there'd be some guys out there that would have given him some warning that, but I mean, stuff happens pretty fast.
Right.
So.
Yeah. You can't keep an eye on everything all the time. I'm sure we all can remember the worst, spectator getting hit by a baseball incident that we ever saw in person. I can think of it right now. It was at the old Metrodome. I mean, a left-handed batter could not get around on a fastball and shot it so quickly right above the Twins dugout. I mean, again, I know I've told this.
No nets at the time.
No nets.
Oh, no.
Really, honestly, this is the sound that you heard. It was this fast. It was.
Yep.
That's how fast that baseball left that bat and hit a dude in the face, sitting behind the dugout there on the third baseline. He was absolutely a dead body. I mean, he wasn't dead, but he might as well have been. They stretchered him out of there. The really crazy part about it is he had a couple kids with him, tiny little kids. They're crying hysterically. They have no idea if Dad or Uncle Donnie, whoever the hell he was going to, wake up ever again. I just couldn't believe how fast it happened. And they had the mops out. The guy had leaked all over the.
Oh my gosh!
It was brutal.
Yeah, I've told the story in Little League, playing at Cherry Hill Park when I was growing up, and one of my friends' older brother in the bigger leagues got hit right between the eyes. And so I can remember where we heard about it, and we run up to the field, and he's laying there at home plate, and he's got this mouse, this big old welt,
right
between the eyes. I mean, you couldn't have planted it any more perfect. this big old knot where he got hit right in the head.
Oh, that makes my head hurt to think about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's little.
And I preached for like 20 years as a broadcaster to get the on-deck hitters out of the line of fire. And it almost happened last year. I don't know if you remember last year.
Yes.
Christian Vasquez was in the on-deck circle. And he got smoked by one of those bang-bang foul balls you just talked about at the Metrodome. And it hit him in the bill of his helmet.
Yes.
And if it had been a half inch lower, he would have been, T-boned right between the eyes. And to me, they ought to just take your bat, your pine tar, whatever else, batting donut, all of that stuff. Just pick it up and go behind the batter, whether it's right-handed or left-handed, like they do in Little League.
Right.
And we're just waiting. 25 years ago, there was a player for the Cardinals, Juan Encarnacion, and he got drilled. His career was pretty much over with, and all he was doing was, sitting in the on-deck circle. So I just hope it's something that they do proactively rather than reactively.
Or why not, put up a screen? I mean, they have L screens for the pitchers during batting practice. Why not put up just a screen that guys can stand behind?
Have them swing the bats behind the the net that the pitching coach hides behind.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I'm talking about? Yeah, something like that.
Well, I know when the Target Field first opened up, one of the great things about Target Field is the seating area. The dugouts are all close to home plate.
Yes.
But the Cleveland manager at the time, Manny Acta, he would watch the game from the far side of the visiting dugout at Target Field because he thought it was too close.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How about a fun minor league baseball, a little bit of information for you here, Dick Bremer, before we go. I don't know if you're familiar with the bit, but the Madison Mallards is how you say it. The Madison Mallards out there in Wisco. They're a Northern Leagues team. They're going to honor Chris Farley. Chris Farley's been dead for years. He went to school there at Madison. Was he one of your classmates, Janel Klein?
He wasn't, but I remember when I moved in the dorm, there were stories even then about his antics.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
So the Madison, Wisconsin Mallards of the Northern League, they're going to honor Chris Farley later on this summer in July. They're going to wear motivational speaker uniforms.
That's awesome.
Do you know the bit, Dick Bremer, from Saturday Night Live when Chris Farley was the motivational speaker?
Yeah, and he was divorced and lived in a van down by the river.
Matt Foley.
That's the one.
Matt Foley.
Yes, he was, Dick Bremer. My favorite part of the bit was when he says, well, what do we got? A little Bill Shakespeare here. So they're going to, you got to see the outfits. They're ridiculous. The team is going to wear uniforms that make it appear they're wearing a green tie with a checkered suit coat or something. The hats will don, upon the hat, there will be a van which is parked down by the river. That's what will be on the ball.
That's great.
They're going to sell that. Oh, my damn. They're going to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Chris Farley, boy, how long has he been gone now?
99.
Are you kidding me?
Is that long?
25 years.
It's been 25. I was going to say 13, 15.
This is 97.
Oh, 97.
On Wikipedia.
Holy cow.
Years.
Wow. So there you go. That ought to be fun when they pull that bit off. Oh, man. All right, Dick Bremer, anything else on your mind before we let you go?
No, let's just hope that the Twins game last night kind of snapped some of the hitters out of the funk they've been in, and let's hope that some of their better players can come back. It's just kind of a odd thing. We've been it's been proven again here early this season that apparently Royce Lewis is the most important bat in that lineup, and he's only got 257 major league at bats. So when he gets back, I think things will be a whole lot better.
And that's something. I think you're right. But that shows you how special a kid he is. Thanks for your time, Dick Bremer. We'll talk to you next week.
Got it.
You bet.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. We got so many other things to cover here, Randy Shaver. I'm sure Janel Klein's got all kinds of things on her mind, right, Janelle?
Oh,
She
so
always
many.
does.
So
always
many.
does.
Always running wild over there, running hot, Janel Klein. Tonight, Wolves and Suns, Game 2, 6:30, right here in town at Target Center, televised on Bally Sports. I know it's also televised on TNT. But I'm sticking with Jim Peterson and Michael Gray until the bitter end. Do they? I think maybe they only get the opening round and then it all turns over to. Is that how it works?
I think so. Yeah.
Then it turns over to the national guys. That sucks because Michael Grady and Jim Peterson are so terrific. So 6:30 tonight, game 2. Like we talked about yesterday, can they keep up that intensity on defense?
Well, we'll find out.
Is there a hangover, as they say, from that wonderful game 1? Also tonight, Pacers and Bucks, Mavericks and the L.A. Clippers. Dallas Mavericks and L.A. Clippers. There were a couple of great endings to separate games in last night's NBA playoff lineup. One being the insane ending of the New York Knicks Philadelphia 76ers ball game. The Knicks scored 6 points in the last 30 seconds of the game and beat the 76ers 104-101, so they lead that series 2-0. And a lot of folks were, I got lucky. I changed the channel after the Twins game was over. I caught that dramatic ending just in time. Mike Breen, who was calling the game last night, I guess had a terrific call of the 2 3-pointers that put the Knicks ahead.
Mike Breen is the best NBA announcer. He is so much fun.
Well, I won't tell Kevin Harlan that you said that.
I love Kevin Harlan, but Mike Breen is so good.
He's good. So that was a hell of a scene. I mean, the Sixers are up 5. Could have been up 6, but dude misses a free throw. They come back down. The Knicks come back down, and they were terrible with their 3-pointers. But Brunson hits, and it was a bizarre deal. Hits the back of the rim. It goes straight up in the air and somehow falls through the basket.
It was his only 3 of the night, too.
Yeah, he was terrible. Then they steal the inbounds pass. It's total chaos.
Yeah.
The ball rolling on the ground, guys diving. Somehow the Vincenzo guy knocks down a 3. It was crazy. But of course, the Denver Nuggets had to top that in their game against the LA Lakers with Jamal Murray hitting a game-closing bucket to win the game. And the joint was up for grabs.
Yeah, it was awesome.
The Lakers had a 20-point lead go away.
First time in 37 times where they led going into the fourth quarter where they lost the game.
A great shot by Jamal Murray. So the Nuggets are up 2-0. The other game last night, Cleveland's up 2-0 over Orlando. Cleveland won last night by 10. So, what else is going on? Do you know how this works, Randy Shaver? And if you don't, that's fine because it sounds boring. But the headline is interesting. The 76ers are going to file a grievance over the officiating of the first 2 games of their series against New York.
Okay.
Do you have any idea how that works? What?
They'll file something with the league to complain about. They'll have to bring some sort of video proof of calls that were made either against them or not called or whatever.
So the most they'll receive from this is maybe an apology?
I don't even know if they'll get that. I think they're probably just going to put it on the record, as it were.
Okay.
For these officials, but it's not going to change the outcome of the game.
Well, of course not the outcome of the game, but I just don't know what can you gain from this except just you want acknowledgement that you were right.
Probably, and like I said, make a record of it so that if these officials won't continue to ref throughout the series or something, I don't know.
All right. Now this is fun for me right here. This is really fun. I wasn't aware of this, but a website called The Athletic every year they do an anonymous poll of NBA players on all types. Who's the best player? What's the best team? What's the best arena to play in? All that stuff. They do an anonymous poll of NBA players. And The Athletic found out that one NBA player named Captain Death Rocks, now Atlanta Falcons quarterback, he's their problem now. One NBA player named Kirk Cousins as their favorite current athlete outside of basketball.
Oh, all right. I mean, that wouldn't be my choice.
You'll understand.
Hear the reason.
You'll understand
right.
in a minute. When the player was asked to explain, the player said, because he gets paid and doesn't have to win and doesn't have to do anything and has made $4 million off of one playoff win.
Yeah, $400 million.
What did I say?
You said 4.
$4 million.
Per win, yeah. I think the real hero here is his agent, who should be celebrating.
Absolutely.
That's the agent you want.
Right.
Because he gets paid and doesn't have to win or doesn't have to do anything and has made $400 million off of one playoff win. The player closed out his statement by saying, legend.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
How about that?
Definitely in the Sports Business Hall of Fame.
That is so clever that the player thought to answer Kirk Cousins when asked who's your favorite and why. That is so clever.
That is funny.
Right.
Oh, and he has only one playoff win. Kirk Cousins.
And that'll probably stay that way. He's in Atlanta now. They have no chance. So.
They have no chance? Are they that bad?
I don't. They're just not a very good football team.
Who else do they have? Who's a star on that team right now?
Michael Vick?
No, you're going back too far.
Shoot, am I going too far?
What was said out loud?
Michael Vick.
Michael Vick, yeah. Jesse Tuggle, Jamal Anderson.
The Dirty Bird.
Chris Chandler, Terrence Mathis, Steve Bartowski, Billy White Shoes Johnson. Now, back to that anonymous NBA player pool. And I bet you, for those of you who didn't see the article ahead of time, I think Randy Shaver will guess this, if in fact you haven't seen it. Another question that the players had to answer was, who is the NBA's most overrated player? Who do you think got the popular vote there? Randy Shaver, do you have any guess?
Joel Embiid, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, I like that answer. I do, because I think he's wildly overrated, but it was not Joel Embiid. Anyone else want to take a guess?
I saw the article.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, I saw it.
Janelle, take a guess. The most overrated player in the NBA today.
Name an NBA player.
Yeah, that's more like it. James Harden.
I love that answer too.
Uh-huh.
You guys have been you're trying to kiss up or something, because both of you gave answers that I really enjoy, because I can't stand watching James Harden or Rudy Gobert.
Oh.
That didn't surprise.
Is the most overrated
player. Which doesn't surprise me, because there's no one in the league that likes Rudy.
No.
True. Yeah.
No, nobody likes him. And he kind of gives good reason to not like him. He's kind of pompous. You know, he does get a little squirrely at times. There isn't.
I think, though, he has reclaimed his status in the NBA this season.
Oh, there's no question about it.
Last year was a bad year for him and for the Wolves in that respect, and just how to use him and everything that kind of happened last year. I think he's reclaimed himself, though. He certainly has been a factor for this basketball team all season long, and I think he will continue to be that here in the playoffs.
Oh, God, there's no question about it. Everything that you say is true. And I think the biggest reason why other NBA players called him overrated was just to be dicks, because they don't like the guy. They all know what a great defender he is. Hell yes, they know that. Sure. They just don't like the guy. And I get it.
He's the Brzezinski of the NBA.
I suppose you could say that.
Yeah.
He is not a likable guy, but who cares? When he's on your team, he does his job.
When he's on your team, you tolerate him and you love him, but when you're playing against him, you don't care for him.
Here's the other players that were named as overrated. Right after Rudy Gobert was Jordan Poole.
Yes,
of the
I would
Washington
agree with that.
Wizards.
He went to the Wizards after belly aching in Golden State that he needed, more opportunities, and he just kind of disappeared in Washington.
Well, I'd want to leave that team too if one of the star players almost killed me at practice with a cheap shot punch to the skull.
But a lot of that too was his belly aching about being, not in a good place for him to excel as a player. So.
Trae Young, Dylan Brooks. There's Janelle's James Harden on the list of overrated players. Bradley Beal, who will play tonight at Target Center for the, Phoenix Suns. John Collins, Tyrese Halliburton. Karl Anthony Towns made the list of overrated players.
No way Tyrese Halliburton is overrated.
I agree with that.
Totally disagree.
I don't know why. Maybe he's a dick, too. Patrick Beverly made the list of overrated players.
Yeah, he's not a factor anymore.
Anthony Davis, Jason Tatum.
Totally disagree with that, too.
But yeah, Rudy's just he's kind of that guy.
Sure.
I get why you wouldn't like him.
Sure.
Stanley Cup playoff results from last night. Toronto, and by the way, we got more Kirk Cousins stuff here. I'm not done picking on that guy. Stanley Cup last night. Toronto beat Boston. Carolina beat the New York Islanders. Carolina was down 3-0 in that hockey game, came back, won 5-3. Tonight, last night's game ones, Las Vegas beat Dallas, Edmonton beat L.A. Tonight, Washington and the Rangers, Tampa Bay and Florida, Zach Parisi's at Winnipeg, Nashville's at Vancouver, and on and on and on. This stuff will get way more interesting in the next round. Everyone's making the same joke now about Kirk Cousins. So, he showed up Sunday night at the Atlanta Braves primetime Sunday night baseball game against the Texas Rangers. He threw out the first pitch, and then he talked in the booth with the ESPN guys. But the Braves lost, so now folks are just saying it's just another primetime loss for Kirk Cousins. Where is Sam Cassell on that overrated list? What are you talking? Sam Cassell has played in the league
17 years ago.
Current.
Settle down.
Well, then why would you pick on Sam Cassell anyway?
Right.
He's the big ball dance.
Yeah, he gave us the big balls dance.
He's a legend for that.
Huge balls.
Yeah. Just gigantic.
Citing Jesus. Did you just come out of a coma or something? Why are you texting in?
He's always a problem.
Why are you wanting Sam Cassell to be on an overrated NBA player list when the guy hasn't put on the sneakers for a real game in 18 years? Or whatever it's been. Get back to me. I want to know what's wrong with you. So, folks are saying now, after Sunday night, Kirk Cousins is now 13-24 in career primetime games because he showed up to watch the Braves lose.
Cassell retired in 2009. He's now an assistant with the Celtics. I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I knew he was...
Yeah, he's been bounced as an assistant coach.
So how many years ago? 2009, 19... 16 years? Can anyone help me with the arithmetic? 15 years? Okay. That's okay. I'm going to wait on the text message there from Citing Jesus. and kind of like the I'll get there. What was I just asking you about that sounded boring, but maybe you could explain it and make it sound more interesting? I was asking
the review with the league.
Yes. Please, someone take over. I can't remember.
They're submitting a review of the officiating for the first.
Yes, the 76ers. Yes. Right. Are complaining about the officiating. They filed this is the word I can't come up with. Grievance. Filed a grievance. Similar to that, where it doesn't sound interesting, but maybe you know something, Randy Shaver. Back to Kirk Cousins. Here's the headline. Tampering punishment for Falcons over the Kirk Cousins signing could be announced this week. I haven't followed it because, like I said, it sounds boring. But what's going on with this? What could happen here?
Apparently, there was some alleged contact between the doctors in Atlanta and Cousins over his, injury situation. And if that's true, if there was contact, then obviously that's illegal. And the discussion, or at least what I've been reading and what's been out there, is that there might be draft picks as compensation for alleged illegal contact between the team and Cousins prior to him, because the Vikings are alleging that that contact spoiled their opportunity to try to re-sign him. I don't think the Vikings cared to re-sign him.
Right.
But I think that they're using that as motivation here. So
let me guess, the Falcons could lose some draft picks or something?
The way it looks is the Falcons have the 8th pick, the Vikings have the 11th. There's talk that they might swap, so the Vikings would go up to 8.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of a huge deal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So sounds boring on the surface, but actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think Randy's right. The Vikings probably didn't have any interest in signing him, especially for the money he was going to get from Atlanta, but they're going to obviously pursue this all the way.
Plus, the Vikings need a quarterback who drinks.
I agree.
Right? They need a quarterback who drinks, swears,
jumps on a boat,
doesn't tuck his shirt in,
runs through the okra patch, as we learned back in the day.
I mean, it was so boring around here, and it never produced any results. Here we got this straight-laced guy who he's a grown man that doesn't drink or smoke or swear. That's not normal.
And then a documentary comes out about him. It's like, oh, he goes to Barnes & Noble. Look how funny he is. And it's like, oh, gosh, so boring.
I like boring. I missed the guy.
I didn't know you were all anti-Kirk Cousins. You were all over all that stuff for a while there, Dana.
New, this,
what is this?
I never liked the guy.
You never liked the guy?
No. I think he just didn't have the courage to speak out when he lived in town. But
yeah,
now
I was afraid of him kicking my ass because I go to that same Barnes & Noble he went to in Eagan, and I didn't want him to cause any trouble.
He ain't kicking anybody's ass.
No. I think Dana's just still mad about the Coles cash.
What do you mean? What was he mad about?
Mad you didn't get a cut of the fame.
Didn't get any of his residuals.
Mm-hmm. I've never heard this anti-Captain Deathrock side of you. You always seem like you enjoyed all the geekiness and all that.
Yeah, I found him kind of boring like you.
What's the deal here? Oh, Citing Jesus got back to us. He made that comment about Sam Cassell that we couldn't figure out.
Yeah, did he hook up with your girlfriend or something?
Well, now I think he's taking a shot at the program here, Cubby. So he says, where's Sam Cassell on the list of overrated NBA players? The guy hasn't played in 15 years. I said, what's wrong with you? He texted back, I think he's taking a shot. He says, sorry, I'm having some, quote, technical difficulties.
Too soon, man.
What is that?
I don't even get it.
I don't really get that. Where are you going with this?
And by the way, stop texting. Aren't you up on a ladder somewhere? You're going to fall off and hurt yourself.
Yeah, if you're going to be doing siding on people's homes, maybe you want to pay attention to what you're doing. That's it. I'm blocking him.
Don't block him.
I'm not really going to block Citing Jesus. I'm just having some friggin' fun. Oh, God.
I'm kind of surprised, Nick, that you've...
what did I miss?
Have not mentioned Elijah Hawkins this morning.
Oh, yeah, that aggro...
How ticked off do you have to be as a Gopher basketball fan after this kid? And, I get it. It's the world of NIL. Things are going to change. But the kid commits, says, I'm back. I'm definitely back. And then yesterday, there's the word that he's entering the transfer portal. How disappointing is that?
I'm glad you brought it up, even though
It sucks. I'm sorry. This NIL is just ruining. I mean, I
agree. It's ruining it.
The players deserve the opportunity to make the money, to do what they need to do. I get that part. But this willy-nilly being able to just leave at a moment's notice and do this kind of, it's just you'll never have any continuity at all in any of your programs. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's gone now. Mm-hmm. 1995, and everybody's here, and they're here for 4 years, and all that's gone.
Yep.
It's never going to be here again, and it's just super disappointing because he's such an integral part. And all those guys were coming back. I mean, they lost a few guys, but there was a good core of guys that said we're back, and it sucks. I'm sorry,
dude. You got no reason to apologize. I agree with everything that you said. I cannot stand.
Feel bad for Gopher basketball fans who pay good money to go watch this team play, and again, I'm not. The kid can do whatever he wants. I get it, but if you're gonna commit and say you're back, then honor your word and say you're back. Mm-hmm. I mean, follow through. It's part of life, right? When you say you're going to do something, then do that. Instead of committing and making a big deal about it and I'm back, I'm definitely back, and then a week later you take a little bit more money and you leave. I mean, that's just, I'm sorry.
It sucks. Elijah Hawkins, a talented kid. He was a big reason why the Golden Gophers were competitive this past year. It's a damn shame. And here's a text from a listener, and I believe this is more or less what we're saying. Randy might have misspoke. I don't have a problem with the NIL thing. I don't have a problem with the kids making money. It's the transfer portal that's ruining college sports.
Yeah, but the NIL and the transfer portal work together. I mean,
explain that to me.
They're not two separate things. I mean, NIL, when you can pay players to play, then they'll use the transfer portal to
go where the money is.
That's right, exactly. It's following.
All right, well then they're both ruining college sports.
So there's got to be some sort of a limit on how many times you can transfer, it's just the Wild West, and it's the big losers are fans of programs who want to see consistency, want to see their guys there, want to be able to cheer on a team, and then it just gets destroyed.
If you're an established program that wins every year, it's not going to bother you so much because kids are going to want to come to your school. But if you're struggling like the Golden Gophers are, every year they'll, oh, God, we got something cooking, and then they leave because they want to go play here, here, or here. Right.
This is not Kentucky, where their philosophy under Calipari used to be, we'll bring in the best freshmen in the country, they'll play 1 year, then they'll go pro, and we'll start over again.
Right.
That's not the philosophy here. The philosophy is let's, give these guys an opportunity to play, get an education, and yeah, maybe they won't all stay here, but the thought process is we'll get them here for a couple of years and be able to build something. Well, you can't build anything if players are leaving at a moment's notice. Guys leaving early, kids leaving early for the pros and the money and the transfer portal. Yeah, it's all a very different situation. It's very sad. I feel bad for Ben Johnson. I do too. It brings me back to Paul Martin, who became a pal of this program years ago. It always brings me back to what Paul Martin told us when they won those back-to-back titles in the early 2000s, the Golden Gopher hockey program. Yeah. I remember asking Paul, just simply, what was the key to the success of those two clubs? And the first thing he said, Josh remembers this, I'm sure, he said, we stayed together. Yeah. He said the core of that group played together for 4 years.
Makes a difference.
Yeah.
It makes a effing huge difference.
Right.
But, I'm sure there's plenty of people texting in right now calling us old men yelling at a cloud and all that stuff.
But it doesn't have to be this way. I mean, to me, this is an example of a young guy who probably should never have openly committed to coming back here, should not have said anything until he was completely sure that that's what he was going to do. That's the problem I have. I don't have a problem with him taking more money. If he just would have done that and not said, I'm definitely back, okay, fine. But that's not what happened here.
Is it possible he had technical difficulties? Maybe it's a misunderstanding.
Very possible. Yes.
Yeah.
So
next thing you know, Cubby's going to be leaving me for more money.
That would never happen.
He would never do that.
Friggin' heartbreaking.
No.
Oh, you'd find me nude on a street corner.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I'd be drinking out of a Listerine bottle.
Dude, no way.
And I haven't shaved anywhere for months.
If you get the opportunity, not to be cheesy, but the opportunity to work with your best friend in the whole world, you're not getting in an NIL or whatever. But how much money are we talking about? Just out of curiosity.
You dick. I'd be one hand on the Listerine bottle, the other on my package. I'm telling you, I'd be on a sidewalk nude being arrested.
You're going to have to fight my hand to get my hand off your package. Because I'm going to be here as long as you are.
And I'd be just mumbling, just Cubby, Cubby. And I throw up all over the cops. You son of a bitch. I'm vomiting all over the cops. I'm crying.
Lisa?
Lisa? Some old lady opens up her window and says, you gave up on life, didn't you? Someday Cubby might leave me.
No, that's never, ever going to happen.
We do have to leave. We got to get going. But Randy and I had to be the old guys going off on modern times there for a minute. Thanks, Randy. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
See you.
We'll be back with yes, John.
Oh, I was just going to ask Dana if he had any parting shots to Kirk Cousins now that you hate him.
Yeah, let's. I think his kids suck too.
Oh, they're like 10 years old.
Okay, they seem like perfectly great kids.
Some bitch just took a shot there, didn't he?
I wasn't expecting such vitriol.
Dana's thinking, you back me into a corner, I'm going to lash out at completely innocent people. There ain't no stopping me now. Keep an ear out for the sod. We probably should talk sod next, shouldn't we?
Oh, yeah. We got to tell Janelle about this.
We'll tell Janelle about the sod when we come back.
Half-assed morning show.
They're loud. They lose control. They do their little circus act. They're a nuisance.
93X.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
It is the triple savings spring sale at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Install a new furnace and AC combo and save up to $3,000 with manufacturer and utility rebates along with Standard Heating's discount. That's a trifecta. Visit standardheating.com.
Mike Carruthers shares little pieces of intel and interviews you can use to improve your life on the Something You Should Know podcast.
The next time you're looking for a job and have to write a cover letter, here's some advice from Skip Freeman, author of a book called Headhunters Hiring Secrets. Add a PS to the bottom of that cover letter. That can actually increase the chances of that letter being read by up to 75%. Some people actually glance down and read the PS first.
Something You Should Know. Search on YouTube or wherever you listen.
You're listening to the radio. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Oh, yeah, welcome back to the radio program. 8:37, my goodness. 8:37 already. Jello, that's twice today I wanted to call her Jello.
Jello.
Janel Klein is here with us, and it's a wonderful thing. How you been, Jungle Jane?
I've been pretty good.
You down or what?
Down.
You're down?
Yeah.
What do you think of the new digs? Well, old digs, but new to us.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. Wapple texted me on the way in and said, hey, we're in a new studio. I don't know if you heard. This is where we are. And I don't know my way around this building.
Nobody does.
I came in. Well, first of all, I thought I was being smart, and I texted him back some little meme that said meow.
That's kind of your thing.
Right.
You two have that type of relationship.
Not like, oh, could you tell me where it is? I tried to be smart. And then I got in here and got terribly lost. And
You're far from alone. We mentioned this yesterday. Josh and I have been in this. Well, I know I've been in this. Well, we both have been in this building for over 20 years.
Yeah.
I personally have never been in any of these rooms, so I had no idea how to get here yesterday morning either.
Okay,
So-
I feel better then.
So, Josh, you had been in and out of these joints, I think, once or twice.
Yeah,
but-
I've seen these before.
Yeah, if you're lost, you're fine. You'll probably run into one of us the next time you get lost here in the building.
Yeah, sometimes I still, with going to the bathroom or whatever, I have to tell Nick, nope, you got to go left here.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah. I still get lost in this damn building.
Yeah.
So, do you want to hear about our big prize?
Oh, I really do.
We're pretty pumped about it for a few reasons. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly different. It's got a dorky quality to it. It does.
Yeah.
And so Josh is all in.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
This is so cool, I think.
It's got a blue-collar, regular guy quality to it.
Mm-hmm.
Sure does.
So let's get someone signed up.
And it's really high value, too.
It is.
It's an expensive prize.
It is, and I don't know, are we allowed to mention that?
I forgot to ask, but several $1,000 this prize is worth.
So there you go.
Wow.
Right now on the Luther Bloomington Kia text line, text, I think I got the right word here, Blades, BLADES, Blades. Text Blades to 651-989-9393 to get entered for free grass. And we started this last week on, leading up to that stupid 420 thing, that whole gimmick. Aren't you tired of that? Anyway, text Blades to 651-989-9393. Get entered for free grass. Up to 2,000 square feet of sod plus delivery and installation from a group of folks called A and L Sod. The word is Blade, 651-989-9393.
That is a good prize.
And it covers all of what I said, right? Yeah. It's kind of dorky. It's very different. And it's got like we got plenty of texts from guys saying, my yard is garbage.
Yeah.
I need this. I want this. My yard is My yard is becoming I would love this effing prize.
And I like stuff where nobody wants to pay for sod.
No.
There's certain things that you'll pay for happily, but sod, it's like a lot of the, like, oh, great, I need a new air conditioner or something like that. You don't want to spend the money on that.
Right.
Are you a homeowner, Janelle? I guess I don't know.
I'm not.
Okay.
But I picture how satisfying it would be to have someone come and give you beautiful, bright green, perfect grass.
Why don't you sod your bedroom?
I mean, sand or foam or something,
Something.
Yeah. So there you go. We're getting someone signed up all week long. We'll sign folks up, and then Friday morning, we're going to have some kind of showdown to determine a winner. And then it's going to be real easy for them.
Oh, this is great. A couple of people saying they just built a house and they could really use it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. All right, we'll keep going here. I've got kind of a moral challenge for us here. Kind of a moral question, I guess. Tell me if I've used the right wording. I got an interesting question texted in a little earlier from a character called M Making Jesus. M Making Jesus. Here we go. Is 37 years old too old to beat up an 18-year-old guy?
Yes.
It doesn't sound good, but I guess it depends on the situation.
Yeah. There's two other...
to me, that's very situation dependent.
I think that's perfectly said. I don't know why I just said there's two other, because that's totally not where... There's no other information on what's going on. The details are missing. All it is that simple question. Is 37 years old too old to beat up an 18-year-old guy? Josh, I think absolutely dependent on the circumstances and the situation.
I'd be worried that I just wouldn't be capable of doing it.
I would not.
I'd get my ass kicked.
Oh, yeah, you're 37, aren't you?
Yeah.
I'm 38, but
38.
yes, very close.
That's a good point.
Well, of course, there's fear or concern that you might be embarrassed, but that goes for any fight.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Just the fear of, dude, I think he's taking you. You just hear that. Oh, no.
Tough question. If you can get back to us, give us more details on this. I'm very interested in what's going on here. It makes me think of one of my best buddies back when he was a 17-year-old kid in high school. He was a vocal instigator type of a character. One of the best I've ever been around. I mean, he's got a yap on him, and he can start trouble in an instant. Day after day, he's busting the balls of this teacher at our old high school, driving the guy nuts. And finally, the teacher, who was probably 40 years old at the time, drags him into a separate room and says, you know what? I'm tired of your friggin' mouth. And you know what I'd like to do just one time? I'd like to hit you in the friggin' mouth and knock you on your ass. 40-year-old teacher says this to a 17-year-old kid. And my buddy had the balls to say, you know what, Mr. Ding-a-ling, whatever his name was, you know what? I don't think you could get it done.
Oh.
Is that not just the most beautiful thing?
That was good.
I still think back and I think, God, I wish I could have been the guy to say that to my teacher.
God.
That is a pretty cool line.
A 17-year-old, I bet the teacher just had steam coming out of him.
I bet he turned 3 different shades of red.
I bet you couldn't. I don't think you could get it done, he says.
Well, since we're on the topic of social decorum, I have a question I've been wondering about. When it comes to phone calls, if somebody's calling you and you can't answer the phone, do you send it straight to voicemail or let it go? I let it go because I'm afraid they'll be offended if I send it to voicemail. But at the same time, I'm kind of wasting their time because they got to wait for my voicemail.
Yeah, I send it to voicemail right away, Josh.
Okay, so that's the way to go.
I'm in your boat, Josh. I do the exact same thing you do. And for the same mindset, I'm like, they're going to totally know I ignored this.
Because most people will know, they sent me to voicemail.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you my answer real quick. I always let it go because I don't know how to send it to voicemail. What do I do on my phone to send it to voicemail?
You hit the red one.
Instead of the green one.
I just let it ring like the old days.
Yeah, but does anyone leave a voicemail?
Yeah, you should see my voicemails. I have so many voicemails.
Well, even if they don't, they might wait for it to pick up.
That's true. Yeah.
Now, Ashley, are you talking about scam calls or what?
No, my mom leaves me a lot of voicemails.
I always call your mom back right away.
Yeah, I usually ignore it right away, and then if I want them to know I'm busy, I'll shoot them a text. Okay, sorry, I'll get back to you.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. A few people are saying they do the same. Like Haul in Your Wood, Jesus lets it go for the same reason as I do. I just don't. I was wondering what's right. What's the right way to? What do people appreciate? Because things keep changing. I mean, Janelle, I learned from Ashley that she thought I was mad at her for the longest time because I used punctuation in text.
In your text.
In my text.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say, Ashley, like a period means you're mad at somebody if you put a period at the end of the sentence?
Yeah, we would be talking about something that I imagined he wouldn't get offended over, and then he'd end it with like, haha, okay, period, or something. And I'm like, what's up with the period, dude?
Wow.
Yeah, I had no idea. So she thought for years I'm mad at her. And, I had asked, I've got a son that's about her age, and, a daughter a couple years younger. And I had asked them, I'm like, is Ashley insane or what's going on? They're like, oh, no. She's 100% right. We just know you don't mean anything by it. So I didn't realize that. So now I never know what to do, what's good phone etiquette, because maybe I'm giving somebody the wrong message by not answering. Or, letting it go to voicemail versus sending it.
This is all so silly. We should, as grown people, we shouldn't be worried about these silly little things.
Well, it's weird how people get kind of pissy about that stuff.
It's silly. It's silly. Well, you never texted me back. What are you, 11? I mean,
what's hard though, Josh, is so you don't use punctuation in a text, and then if I send an email, especially at work, I am absolutely sure I use exactly the correct pronunciation, grammar, everything, because then I feel like you're judged the other way.
Yeah, it's true.
Right?
What a world. What a world. Cope Bandit, C-O-P-E, Bandit Jesus says, what about an eggplant emoji? Is that good or bad? Bad. I think that's always good. I enjoy getting it. I sent an eggplant emoji to the wrong person. That was uncomfortable, but I enjoy getting one of those. That's good humor to me.
We got to take a break. I would love it if maybe I can check my text messages and find out more about this 37-year-old looking to beat up an 18-year-old. People are texting in and guessing that maybe it's a dad protecting his daughter.
Oh, yeah.
You see where they're going with that? Maybe I can get some more information because I'm really drawn to that. We got to wrap her up here shortly, but I got some clarification, I believe, on this dramatic text message that I was really into, where the text simply said, is 37 years old too old to beat up an 18-year-old? And we all kind of agreed that, well, it depends on the circumstances. What the hell happened? Here's what I found out on the text machine. Well, first off, I thought, man, this 18-year-old better be worried, because I scrolled back and the text came from a guy that calls himself MMA King Jesus.
Oh.
If I'm 18 years old, I'm not afraid of a lot of 37-year-olds unless they come at me with the nickname MMA King, okay? But it sounds like this is an organized mixed martial arts bout that's coming up where one guy is 37, the other is 18. You see what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I don't think there's an issue with that.
If the 18-year-old is agreeing to it like that, yeah.
Well, no, that squashes the whole thing, of course. But
that kind of actually turns things around a little bit for me, where I'd be nervous as the 37-year-old.
Yes.
In the situation where I thought it was just like a street fight, for whatever reason, I'd feel like I'd have more confidence.
Right. It kind of disappointed me, though. I was hoping that, the 18-year-old had stolen the guy's wife, and then he spotted the kid driving his car around town, something like that. But it was just a little cute line. There's an organized fight coming up between MMA King Jesus, who's 37, and his opponent will be 18. Yeah, it's all fair and square then. It's an organized fight.
I'm cheering for MMA King Jesus.
Yeah.
He's my guy. That's who I want to win.
I'm right there with you. All right, so there you go. I think that settles that. Before we get out of here, Janel Klein, did you go to prom?
I did.
How many years did you go?
7.
No. From 7th grade on.
You got so excited to answer the question, too.
I don't know if I was that excited about it. I think a couple. That tells you how little I probably cared. Maybe twice.
Yeah. So, is it most schools, I'd imagine, the same for us? You could go junior and senior year on your own.
Right.
Freshman or sophomore, you had to have been asked.
Right.
Yep.
Never saw it.
Really?
Nope.
I went 4 times, all 4 years.
Dang.
I went 2 times.
Never went to prom ski.
I don't think you missed out, Nick.
Well, I went to the parties after the dance was over, and that was fun.
Do you know what's weird at my high school? So you went to prom and you went to the grand march, right? Where everyone shows off. But there was no dancing. There was a dance, but nobody stayed.
Nobody went out there?
Yeah, I'm like, well, what was the point of that? Like,
that's weird.
Dressed up for nothing?
Super weird. Yeah, no, there were never dances at my school.
You dress up, you walk through, they take your picture, and everyone leaves to go to the barn party.
Exactly. They hire a DJ, and everyone literally leaves, and the gym is empty.
Just a handful of dorks kind of wandering around.
Yes.
That's kind of sad for the DJ.
It is sad.
They're doing the chicken dance with 3 people.
Yeah.
People stayed for ours, but nobody really danced. Very infrequently.
Was it like Footloose? Like girls on one side, boys on the other?
A lot of times it was, Janelle.
Yeah.
Very
That's
similar.
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, me and my girlfriends danced our butts off. That was probably my favorite prom. The ones that I went with an actual guy, those sucked. But when I went with my girlfriends, that was a lot of fun.
I mean, like if Violent Femmes came on, all the girls were out on the dance floor. But outside of that, it was just kind of standing around.
I'd have to ask.
We had bumping and grinding going on at ours all the
Yeah.
time.
Same here, Bob.
Word.
Wow.
Word.
There were the people that were the wallflowers until like a slow song came on, then they would go and do the slow dance. But
that's the only time I danced.
Yeah,
That's it.
unless that was happening, then it would be funny watching them scatter. As soon as like it goes into Lil Jon. Oh, I'm actually gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
I think it probably depends on your age. There really wasn't a lot of music when I was in high school that was terribly filthy outside of Prince. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where once once Ashley and Dana and Wapo got into high school, there's all these filthy songs where you just got up on somebody, you couldn't help it. It was almost like you were unconscious or something.
Yeah.
You know.
That was exactly what I was thinking about. Wapo.
What are you singing over there?
To the window, to the wall.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And at our dances, the DJ wasn't going to play those dirty Prince songs anyway.
Right.
Sure, he'll play Let's Go Crazy, but he ain't going to play Darling Nikki or Get You Off or...
They had to run the playlist through the principal before they...
Did they really?
Oh, you're kidding me.
I'll have to ask my buddies if there was any dancing at our proms, because like I said, I never saw it. But we would gather up after the dance was over and go crazy. Matter of fact, we're off air now, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Show's over?
Been off for the last few minutes.
I had sex with one of my buddy's prom dates after he passed out on a kitchen floor.
Isn't that against bro code?
Did you have the sex on the kitchen floor? Or did he pass out on the kitchen floor?
I'm glad you asked, because the way that sentence ran on. We had sex on the kitchen floor after my buddy passed out.
that makes it even better.
Did he find out? Did you tell him?
I don't know. He never
found out.
I mean, I never. You asked if I told him. No,
Yeah.
I didn't tell
You
him.
didn't tell him.
He may have found out at one point or another, but
Was this simply a prom date, or were they in a relationship?
simply a prom date.
Okay.
Same
That makes it a little
school?
bit better.
Same school.
Same school. Yeah. Anybody go to a prom at a different school?
No.
No. I was asked, but I turned it down.
Whoa.
Why did you turn it down?
I just didn't. It just seemed like a lot of hassle.
What?
Were you out of high school at this point?
No, I was in high school, but it was she.
Oh, God. Are there guys that go to prom when they're out of high school?
Yeah, my boyfriend came to my boyfriend at the time, because we were together for like 6 years, so
Come
he
on,
came to
Janelle, you
my
can't
senior
go
prom.
to a prom when you're out of high school.
That happened. I don't know.
I'd feel a little awkward
I know.
on both ends of that.
I remember
yeah.
guys coming back for like the homecoming football game that had graduated a couple of years.
That's
It's just
a
like,
little
all right,
weird.
time to move on, man.
Wait a minute. What's wrong with going and watching a football game?
But they were like there like to party with the high school kids still.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh.
they weren't just there in the stands to cheer for the team. They were like trying to like act like they were still a senior and hanging out and.
Yeah, we had, if someone was older and didn't go to our school, they had to, go to the office and they had to get, a background check.
Yeah, you had to
You're
get
talking
permission.
about now. You're talking about for prom.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, now
Although-
that I look back, I realize that the dudes that, because it was usually men that went after they were graduated from high school. I look back and I'm like, yeah, you're weird for that. There was nothing else going on that night.
Although, man, think about it, Nick. You're a guy, and you bring a girl that's out of high school, like a college girl, you'd be legendary.
Oh, it would be
Yeah.
legendary.
That's
status.
cool.
That's true.
That
See,
would be
it was
like.
always- It was always the guy was 8 years older than the girl
Yeah.
or
Whoa.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually picture the guy being older, yes, in that situation. But if you could bring a college girl, even if it was a cousin that nobody knew about, just so you could get the reputation as this stud that could make a college girl happy.
See, I know we're running late already, but I just wanted to get this off my chest. I think there's a big difference between being 20 years old and going to a high school prom. Big difference between that and being 20 years old and still partying with high school kids. I mean, when I was 20 years old, a lot of our girlfriends, just girlfriends, and a couple guy friends were still in high school, and I had plenty of parties with 18, 17-year-old kids at my house when I was 20. That's way different than dressing up and walking into prom as a effing grown man.
Yeah.
Renting a tux and all that.
It looks so good in a cummerbund, though.
I mean, I had so many friggin' parties when I was 20, 21 where there were still high school kids there that the cops, damn near put my brother and I in jail for, contributing to minors. Because, we still were tight with these people.
Yeah.
At any rate. Yeah. It is what it is. So, all right. Well, I was asking about prom because, it's coming up, and we can talk more about it maybe
I don't know.
tomorrow or something like that.
Does anyone wish they could have gone to one of Nick's Ragers?
Yes.
Wouldn't that have been the best?
We had some good times.
I wish we could have.
It was very destructive.
Yeah.
It was lawless,
Yeah.
I think I'm out.
hillbilly nonsense. Yes, Waffle.
I think I'm out. I would have got my ass kicked at your parties.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, you would have, Waffle.
Probably.
You just laugh about it? Yeah, probably.
But I could see at the end of the night people picking you up going, you know what, you're a good sport, buddy.
Come on back tomorrow night.
Yeah, you'd win them over. I mean, you'd probably still get beat up the next time, but I think you'd win them over.
I'm just picturing my buddy half man, half amusing, who loved to fight back in the day. He's got a belly full of Jack Daniels. He watched Wapple walk through the front door. I just have a feeling, because, back in those days, Mirzo liked to make sure people knew that there aren't any free rides. That's how he let people know that there weren't any free rides. Just kind of tune them up a little bit at the party. You guys, we would have had a great time.
Some of us.
Wapple, you would have made it. All right, we got to get going. Oh my God, look at the time. Thank you very much, Janelle.
Thanks, you guys.
Maybe we'll all get together again at an adult prom.
I think we should.
Got a text from the guys at Goodmanson's Construction. They lost a coworker over the weekend, sadly, and they wanted Peter and his family to know he will be missed. From everyone at Goodmanson, congratulations to Elk Slayer Jesus and Colorado Canine Jesus going to the Colorado Mountains to elope today. And happy birthday to Ben, who's moving on from swinging hammers to flying planes.
Well, we've got a concert announcement
for
you.
I forgot about the concert announcement.
Yeah.
God dang it, this is pretty cool.
Do you guys want to hear about it, or should we just skip it?
No. I want to hear about it because I'm excited about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
93X presents Megadeth
and
Mudvayne September 24th at the Armory. Tickets to the show go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m.
Well, that sounds awesome. Absolutely awesome. I've been waiting on this.
That was the loudest concert I went to.
Which one? Which Megadeth show?
At the Myth.
The Myth one?
Yeah, it was
that
Megadeth.
Right, it was Megadeth with DEAF. But if you remember, Wapple, it was so crowded that they basically put our skulls. We were so pushed. It was a good thing to be pushed towards the stage.
Yep.
But the crowd, our ears were up against Dave Mustaine's guitar amplifier.
I think my head was in the monitor speaker at one time.
Yes.
Yeah, it got a little rough, that's for sure.
That's an exciting show.
They put on a good show. Absolutely.
Yeah. September 24th, that'll be at the Armory, Megadeth and Mudvayne.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93 KARE.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Install a new furnace and AC combo and save up to $3,000 with manufacturer and utility rebates along with Standard Heating's discount. Visit standardheating.com.